What if the most sacred laboratory in the universe was not a place of glass and fire, but a space within you? Imagine for a moment an alchemist's chamber, hidden not in a stone tower, but behind your own eyes. It is here, in the quiet solitude of your own consciousness, that the great work is performed. This chamber is filled with raw materials, vials of memory, shimmering with joy and clouded with sorrow, furnaces stoked not by coal, but by the intensity of your attention. And on the workbench lies the prima materia, the first matter, a substance heavy, dense, and dull. This is the lead of your being, the weight of your fears, the residue of your past, the density of your doubt. We are taught to despise this lead, to hide it, to cover it, to wish it away. We live in an age of polished surfaces, of curated perfection, drowning in a relentless noise that promises fulfillment but delivers only distraction. The world screams for you to be faster, brighter, more. It demands that you build a magnificent life on the outside, even as the foundations within feel fragile, hollow. We scroll through the lives of others. We strive for goals that are not our own. We accumulate possessions that cannot fill the void. And in the silent moments, when the noise finally fades, a question echoes in the chamber of the soul. Is this all there is? This feeling of being a stranger in your own life, this quiet exhaustion, this deep, unshakable sense that you are meant for something more than this hollow chase. This, right here, is the doorway to the workshop. This is the invitation. Let us close the door on the world's noise, just for a while. Let us not run from the weight within, but turn to face it with courage and curiosity. We are not here to escape, but to engage. We are not here to destroy the lead, but to understand it. For the first secret of the alchemist is this: the heaviest substance in your mind is not a burden, it is not a flaw, it is the beginning. It is the sacred raw material for the most profound transformation you will ever experience. It is the very thing from which gold is made. The first act of the alchemist is not one of addition, but of subtraction. It is the simple, yet profound act of closing the door. And the first tool is not a complex instrument, but an empty space. This is the furnace. Your journey begins here, in the furnace of stillness. But do not mistake this for a place of cold, dead ash. This furnace is alive, humming with potential. Its purpose is not to destroy, but to reveal. Its heat is not the wild, consuming flame of chaos, but the focused, intelligent, unwavering heat of your own awareness. To enter it, you must simply decide to stop. And in that decision, you will immediately feel the resistance. You will feel the immense gravity of the world you have just left behind, pulling at you, pleading with you to return to the noise. Observe this pull. Feel it in your own body, the sudden restlessness in your legs, the itch in your hands to reach for a device, to fill the void, to check, to scroll, to do. Your mind, a loyal servant to the noise for so long, will panic. It will begin to offer you 1,000 seemingly urgent tasks, 1,000,000 brilliant ideas, a parade of pressing worries. It will tell you that this stillness is a waste of time, that you are being unproductive, that there are more important things to do. It will conjure phantom rings and notifications, anything to lure you out of the quiet chamber you have just entered. Do not be alarmed. Do not be discouraged. This is the first test. This frantic, desperate grasping for distraction is the sound of the lead beginning to heat up. It is the ego, the constructed self, realizing that it cannot survive in the purifying fire of silence. It feeds on noise, on action, on external validation. In the stillness, it begins to starve. Your task is not to fight this internal storm. To fight the mind is to add more noise to the noise. To wrestle with your thoughts is to become lost in them. Number. The alchemist does not wrestle with the ore. He simply places it in the furnace and observes. Your only task is to be the furnace. Be the stillness that contains the storm. Be the silent, spacious awareness in which all this mental clutter arises and falls. Watch the thoughts as if they were clouds passing in the sky. Watch the urges as if they were bubbles rising to the surface of a heated liquid. You are not the clouds. You are not the bubbles. You are the vast, unmoving sky. You are the silent, containing crucible. This is a radical act in a world that has trained you to identify with every passing thought and feeling. The furnace of stillness is where you begin to untangle yourself from the machinery of your own mind. For years, perhaps a lifetime, you have been carried along by its automatic programs, believing you are the one in control, when in fact you have been a passenger. Here, in the quiet, you step out of the machine for the first time. You turn and look at it. You see the gears turning, the levers pulling, the programs running, the program of worry, the program of planning, the program of regret, the program of self-criticism. They run on their own momentum, fueled by years of unconscious repetition. In the furnace of stillness, you do not try to stop the machine. You simply withdraw your energy from it. You stop feeding it with your belief and your attention. And slowly, deprived of its fuel, the machine begins to quiet down. This process can be uncomfortable. As the external noise fades, you may begin to hear the deeper noises you have been avoiding. A quiet sadness you've buried under busyness. A simmering anger you've pacified with entertainment. A profound loneliness you've masked with social obligations. These are the deeper layers of the lead. They are the shadows you have been running from. The furnace does not create them. It simply illuminates what has been there all along, hidden in the dark. Again, your task is not to flee. It is to hold your ground, to be the silent, compassionate witness to your own pain, to allow these feelings to arise into the warmth of your awareness without judgment, to feel them fully, without telling yourself a story about them. The moment you name them, the moment you judge them as good or bad, you are once again caught in the machine. Instead, just feel the raw energy of the emotion. Where is it in your body? Is it a tightness in the chest, a hollowness in the stomach, a heat in the face? Let your awareness be a warm, soothing balm that you apply directly to these sensations. This is the true meaning of healing. Not to cut out the parts of you that you dislike, but to integrate them through the power of loving, silent attention. Let us speak of the practice itself. Do not believe you must sit for an hour in perfect, unmoving meditation. That is a fortress you may build later. For now, the alchemist asks only for a small, consistent fire. Begin with 5 minutes. Find a place where you will not be disturbed. The first sacred act is to give yourself permission to be unproductive, to be unavailable to the world for just 300 seconds. Sit, not in a rigid posture, but in a way that is both alert and relaxed. Close your eyes or lower your gaze, and then do nothing. Give up the search. Stop trying to achieve a quiet mind. Stop trying to have a spiritual experience. Stop trying to fix yourself. Simply be. Be present with what is. If your mind is racing, be present with the racing. If your body is tense, be present with the tension. If you feel bored, be present with the boredom. Each time you notice you have been lost in thought, and you will notice thousands of times, do not scold yourself. That moment of noticing is the victory. It is the alchemist remembering his purpose. In that moment, you have woken up from the dream of thought. And with gentle, patient intention, you simply return. Return to the feeling of your breath moving in and out of your body. The breath is your anchor in the present moment. It is the rhythmic, steady bellows that keeps the fire of awareness alive. Each time you return to the breath, you are strengthening a muscle. It is the muscle of attention, the most powerful and underused muscle you possess. You are training yourself to choose where your consciousness is placed. This is the foundation of all true creation, of all alchemy. Do not underestimate the power of these 5 minutes. In these moments, you are rewiring your nervous system. You are teaching your body and mind, that there is a state of being other than the frantic fight or flight that has become our default. You are creating a small island of sanity in the vast ocean of noise. As you practice, this island will grow. The furnace will become more stable. You will find that you can carry this stillness with you, even after the 5 minutes are over. You will start to notice small gaps between your thoughts. These gaps are portals. They are openings through which a deeper intelligence, a profound peace, can begin to enter your life. You will find yourself less reactive to external events because you have cultivated a center of gravity within yourself. The storms of the world may rage, but the furnace at your core remains steady, warm, and bright. The furnace of stillness is not an escape from reality. It is a doorway to a deeper reality. It is the laboratory where the raw material of your life is first examined. Here, you learn that you are not the sum of your frantic thoughts and painful emotions. You are the loving, silent space that holds them all. You are the alchemist, and the furnace is your greatest ally. It asks nothing of you but your presence. It offers nothing less than the beginning of your own liberation. You have closed the door, you have sat down, you have decided to stop. The furnace is now lit. The great work has begun. And as the heat begins to rise, you will start to see clearly, perhaps for the first time, what lies within you, waiting to be transformed. As the furnace of your stillness continues to burn, its quiet heat begins to thin the veil between your inner and outer worlds. You have lit the fire of awareness, and now the universe will respond. It will send you the next essential tool for your great work. This tool is not found within the silence of your chamber, but in the noise of the world itself. It will come to you disguised as your most difficult colleague, your critical family member, the stranger who cuts you off in traffic, the situation that refuses to bend to your will. The universe will send you a mirror. This mirror is not made of silvered glass. It will not show you the face you shave or paint in the morning. It is a living mirror, and its purpose is far more profound. It reflects your inner state. It shows you the parts of your soul that remain hidden from your own view. Every person who angers you, every event that frustrates you, every word that wounds you, is a perfect, flawless reflection of an unhealed aspect of yourself. This is one of the most difficult and liberating truths an alchemist can learn. Our immediate, deeply ingrained instinct is to blame the mirror. When the reflection is ugly or painful, we are convinced the mirror itself is flawed. We say, "He is unreasonable, she is cruel, the world is unfair." We spend our precious life energy trying to correct, educate, argue with, or shatter the mirrors around us, desperately trying to change the reflection. We polish them with flattery, we yell at them in anger, we run from them in fear. Yet all the while, the smudge we see is not on the glass, it is on our own face. The intensity of your emotional reaction is the key. Consider this. If someone accuses you of being a purple elephant, you feel no emotional charge. You laugh. The accusation has no hook within you, no place to land, because there is no part of you that secretly fears you might be a purple elephant. But if someone implies you are incompetent, or unlovable, or not good enough, and a storm of anger or shame erupts within you, you have just discovered a vital clue. The storm is the evidence. The emotional charge proves that their words, their actions, have struck a deeply held, often unconscious, belief within you. The mirror has not created the wound. It has simply revealed where the wound is. The other person is merely the messenger, the delivery system for a message from your own soul to your conscious mind. The message is, "Look here, this part needs healing." This is the great illusion of the ego. It constantly projects its own inner reality onto the external world. It takes its own unresolved fears, insecurities, and judgments, and sees them as attributes of other people. The world becomes a screen upon which the ego plays the movie of its own inner drama. The person who is secretly afraid of their own weakness will see weakness and incompetence everywhere. The person who has not faced their own anger will constantly be met with angry and aggressive people. The universe does not do this to punish you, it does it to help you. It is a profoundly compassionate system. It knows you cannot see your own back, so it provides reflections everywhere to show you what is there. Your disturbance is a compass. It is a divine instrument, pointing with unerring accuracy toward the lead within you that is ready to be transmuted. So how does the alchemist work with this living mirror? The first step is to redefine the moment of being triggered. That sudden, hot flush of anger, that cold stone of hurt in your stomach. This is not a catastrophe. It is a sacred moment. It is an alarm bell, signaling an opportunity for profound work. The average person reacts instantly, unconsciously, giving their power away to the mirror. They blame, they attack, they defend. The alchemist learns to pause. Right there, in that fiery gap between the stimulus and the response, lies your freedom. In that pause, you breathe. You feel the full force of the emotion in your body without judgment. You become the furnace of stillness for this raw, wild energy. And in that contained fire, you ask a new question. You turn your attention 180 degrees away from the mirror and toward yourself. The old question was, what is wrong with you? The new alchemical question is, what in me is this reflection touching? Why does this particular thing have such power over me? What old story, what hidden belief about myself has just been activated? You thank the mirror, silently or openly. Thank you for showing me this. This act alone is transformative. It shifts you from the powerless position of a victim to the powerful position of a student. The world is no longer your adversary. It is your classroom. Let us say your manager criticizes your work, and you feel a wave of intense shame and anger. The untrained mind immediately creates a story. My boss is a tyrant. He doesn't appreciate me. I am a victim here. The alchemist pauses. He feels the fire of the shame. He asks, what is this touching? He looks beneath the anger and finds the shame. He looks beneath the shame and finds a belief. It is the belief that I must be perfect to be worthy of respect. Or perhaps my value is entirely dependent on my performance. Where did this belief come from? When did he first learn it? The mirror of his manager has not created this belief. It has simply illuminated a program that has been running in the dark for decades. The manager is not the cause of his suffering. The program is the cause. And you cannot change a program until you are aware that it is running. This practice requires immense courage. It is far easier to blame the world, to find solace in the temporary righteousness of being the one who was wronged. But that path is a prison. It means your inner peace will forever be a hostage to the words, moods, and actions of billions of other people and an infinite number of uncontrollable circumstances. It is a guarantee of lifelong suffering. The alchemical path, the path of the mirror, is the only path to true sovereignty. It is the understanding that nothing external can touch your core unless there is something within you that resonates with it. When you truly heal the inner wound, the mirror's reflection changes, or it ceases to disturb you altogether. The person who once drove you to madness now elicits compassion, because you see their own wounds reflected in their behavior. Or they simply drift out of your life, their purpose as a mirror for that particular lesson now complete. Begin to practice this in small ways. Notice your irritation when someone is driving too slowly. What is that touching? A belief that things must go my way, at my speed? Notice your discomfort when someone is boasting. What is that reflecting? An insecurity about your own accomplishments? Notice your sadness when you feel left out. What is that revealing? A deep-seated fear of being alone or abandoned. Each disturbance, no matter how small, is a golden thread. If you are brave enough to pull on it, it will lead you back to the tangled knots in your own soul. The furnace of stillness gave you the clarity to see. The mirror of disturbance gives you the precise location of what needs to be seen. It is the universe's loving, if sometimes ruthless, way of guiding your hand to the work that matters most. Do not turn away from the reflection. Do not try to shatter the glass. Look deeply with the courage of a true seeker and ask the only question that matters. What is this here to teach me about myself? The mirror of the world has shown you your own reflection. It has revealed the smudges, the wounds, the tender places that flare with pain at the slightest touch. You have stood before it with courage, withdrawing your blame from the world and turning your gaze inward. But this raises the next profound question for the alchemist. From where did these reflections originate? If the wound is within you, how did it get there? To answer this, we must go deeper. We must leave the busy upper floors of the conscious mind, with its endless chatter and daily concerns, and take a journey down a long-forgotten staircase. Down into the foundation of the house that is you. Down into the stillness of the deep. Here, we will find a door. It is a heavy door, perhaps of iron or old oak, and it has been locked for a very, very long time. This is the door to your vault. Every soul has this vault. It is not a place of shame. It is a place of survival. In your earliest years, your consciousness was wide open, a vessel taking in the world in its totality, without filter or judgment. And in that openness, you experienced things that were too much for your young nervous system to process. An act of unkindness, a moment of abandonment, a word of sharp criticism, a feeling of not being seen or understood. For a child, whose entire world depends on the safety of their connection to others, these moments are not trivial. They are seismic events. Unable to fight or flee, the child's mind performs a brilliant, life-saving act of alchemy. It takes the overwhelming emotion, the terrifying conclusion, the unbearable pain, and it locks it away in the vault. It seals the door, turns the key, and vows to never return. This is how you survived. You fragmented a part of yourself in order to protect the whole. You left a piece of your own soul standing alone in the dark, so that you could continue to function in the light. But nothing that is locked away is ever truly gone. It remains there, in the cold, silent dark of the unconscious. And from behind the sealed door, it emanates an echo. These are the echoes from the forgotten vaults. They are not memories in the way you remember what you ate for breakfast. They are emotional imprints, energetic signatures, frozen in time. An echo is the feeling of unworthiness left by a critical parent. An echo is the terror of abandonment left by a moment of being forgotten. An echo is the quiet belief that I must be silent to be safe, learned in a chaotic household. These echoes are the source code for the programs that run your adult life. They are the invisible threads that pull you back just when you are about to leap forward. You see it in your life now. You consciously desire a loving partnership, but you find yourself sabotaging every relationship that gets too close. That is the echo of abandonment whispering, leave them before they leave you. You consciously seek to speak your truth and be seen, but you find your throat tightening in important meetings. That is the echo of criticism whispering, if you are seen, you will be attacked. You consciously strive for success, but you procrastinate on the very tasks that would lead you there. That is the echo of inadequacy whispering, why even try? You will only fail in the end. The adult you, with all your logic and willpower, is in a constant, losing battle with the powerful, invisible currents of these echoes from the past. You are fighting ghosts. You are wrestling with shadows, and you cannot win because you are trying to solve the problem on the wrong floor of the house. The problem is not in the living room of your adult life. The source is in the vault. So, the alchemist knows what must be done. The journey must be taken. The door must be opened. But here, the method is everything. We do not go down to that door with a sledgehammer, intending to break it down and conquer the past. We do not go down in anger or resentment. That would only recreate the same energy of trauma that sealed the door in the first place. We go down with a single, gentle tool. We go down with a candle. This candle is your adult consciousness. It is the wisdom you have gained. It is the compassion you have learned. It is the stillness you have cultivated in the furnace. You are not going back into that vault as the helpless child who was locked inside. You are returning as the loving, stable, powerful adult who now holds the key. Your presence itself is the light. Your compassionate attention is the flame. Stand before the door. Feel its weight, its age. Acknowledge its purpose. Thank it for protecting you for so long. And then, with gentle intention, turn the key and open it. Do not be afraid of the darkness within. Your candle is all the light you need. Step inside. The air is cool and still. The silence here is different from the silence of the furnace. It is the silence of things long forgotten. And in the gentle, flickering light of your candle, you will see it. There, in the corner, is a small figure. It is you, the child you were when the door was sealed. This part of you has been waiting here, frozen in that single moment of pain for years, waiting for you to return. Your task is not to relive the event. It is not to dredge up the details of the pain. Your task is to see the child, to approach them with the infinite tenderness of a loving parent. Kneel down, so you are at their level. Let the warm light of your candle, the light of your compassionate awareness, fall upon them. And then you speak to them. You give them the words they never heard. I am here now. It was not your fault. You did nothing wrong. You were so brave. I am so sorry you were alone with this for so long. I am here, and I will never, ever leave you again. Feel this in your heart as you say it. Let the truth of these words create an energy, a warmth that flows from your adult self to this forgotten child part of you. In this moment, you are reparenting yourself. You are actively rewriting the conclusion that the child made in that moment of pain. The child concluded, I am alone and unlovable. Your loving presence now offers a new, more powerful truth. You are seen, you are safe, and you are loved unconditionally. You are not erasing the past. You are completing the story. You are integrating the fragment. You are bringing the lost part of your soul home. This is the work, and you can begin it now. A simple, powerful practice is to write a letter to yourself at the age you believe a significant wound occurred. Find a photograph of yourself as a child. Look into that child's eyes, remember their world, and then write. Pour out the words your adult self knows that child needed to hear. Seal it, keep it. It is a sacred text, a contract of healing between who you are now and who you have always been. This journey into the vault changes everything. As you integrate these echoes, their power over your present-day life dissolves. The invisible threads grow weak and fall away. The subconscious programs are deactivated at their source. You do not have to fight the ghost of unworthiness anymore, because you have gone into the vault and held the child who first felt unworthy, and you have loved them into wholeness. The echoes are not silenced by being fought, but by being heard. The darkness is not banished by being condemned, but by being illuminated with the gentle light of compassion. Releasing the whispers of the past does not happen by ignoring them, but by meeting them with the full power of your present, loving awareness. And as you bring these lost parts of yourself home, you will begin to realize that the vault itself was just one part of a larger structure of protection you built long ago, a structure that has now served its purpose and may be ready to be dismantled. You have descended into the vaults and brought the lost children of your past back into the light of your love. You have stood before the living mirrors of the world and reclaimed your projections, owning the smudges on your face as your own. A great healing has taken place. The inner world is becoming integrated. But now, the alchemists must turn their attention to the structure that was built around that inner emptiness, the fortress erected to protect those unhealed wounds. You must now examine the cage. It does not look like a cage. It looks like your life. It is your comfortable routine, your predictable job, your familiar relationships, your reliable habits. Its bars are not made of cold, hard iron, but are padded with security, stability, and the soft, warm glow of the familiar. The food bowl is always full. The water is always clean. The temperature is perfectly controlled. It is a masterpiece of engineering, designed with one ultimate purpose: to keep you safe. This is the cage of comfort, and it is the most subtle and dangerous prison in which a human soul can be confined. Do not mistake comfort for happiness. Comfort is the absence of challenge. Happiness is the vibrant, pulsing energy of growth and expansion. Comfort is the anesthetic of the soul, a gentle numbness that prevents you from feeling both the sharp edges of fear and the exhilarating peaks of true aliveness. The ego is the master architect of this cage. Its prime directive is survival, and to the ego, the unknown is the ultimate threat. The unknown cannot be controlled, predicted, or managed. It contains the possibility of failure, of embarrassment, of loss, of pain. And so, the ego constructs a world, a routine, a personality that minimizes the unknown at all costs. It convinces you that the familiar ache of being stuck is preferable to the sharp, temporary pain of breaking free. Listen closely. Can you feel the two opposing forces within you? There is the soul, the wild, untamable essence of you. It remembers the open sky. It yearns for the horizon. It craves experience, growth, and the taste of the unknown. It does not want to be safe. It wants to be alive. And then there is the domesticated self, the part of you that has learned the rules of the cage. It knows which behaviors get rewarded. It knows how to avoid punishment. It finds deep security in the predictability of the perch. The feeling of being stuck, of being quietly dissatisfied with your life, is the sound of your soul pressing against the bars of the cage your ego has built. It is a sacred friction. It is the call to begin the work of dismantling. The alchemist understands a fundamental law of the universe. Transformation is not a comfortable process. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure. Gold is purified in searing heat. A seed must shatter its own shell to become a tree. Your growth, your personal evolution, operates under the exact same laws. Your potential is not unlocked in your living room, surrounded by familiar comforts. It is forged in the crucible of the unknown. It is discovered when you willingly step into situations that stretch you, that demand more of you than you knew you had to give. As long as you remain in the cage, you are choosing comfort over your own becoming. You are choosing the safety of the lead over the brilliance of the gold. So how do you begin? You do not begin with a sledgehammer. To attack the cage with sudden, violent force would terrify the domesticated self, which would then cling to the bars with even greater desperation. The cage was built to protect you, and you must honor its original purpose even as you recognize it has now become a limitation. The dismantling is a gentle, deliberate, and consistent process. You do not break the bars, you dissolve them. Your key is not one of force, but of consistency. The practice is this: every single day, you must consciously and intentionally do one small thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable. One thing that nudges you against the padded bars of your cage. This is not about reckless endangerment. It is about strategic, intelligent expansion. If you are shy, your task may be to make eye contact with a cashier and offer a genuine smile. If you fear judgment, your task may be to wear an item of clothing you love but worry is too much. If you are rigid in your thinking, your task may be to listen to a podcast from a viewpoint you completely disagree with the sole intention of understanding, not refuting. Take a different route to work. Order something new from the menu without studying it first. Speak up in a meeting, even if it is just to agree with someone else. Send the email you have been procrastinating on. Go for a walk without your phone. Admit you don't know the answer to a question. Each of these acts is a small file, scraping away at the rust on the lock. On its own, it seems insignificant, but performed daily, with intention, it is an act of profound rebellion against the tyranny of your own comfort. As you begin this practice, observe the resistance. Observe the chorus of what-ifs from the ego. What if they think I'm weird? What if I fail? What if I don't like it? What if it's awkward? Hear these voices, but do not obey them. See them for what they are. The sound of the cage keeper trying to convince you that the prison is for your own good. Feel the fear in your body, the tightening in your chest, the desire to retreat to the familiar, and then take the small step anyway. Breathe into the discomfort. Stay with it for a moment longer than you think you can. With each small act of courage, you are sending a new message to your nervous system. You are teaching it that discomfort is not fatal. You are demonstrating to the deepest parts of your being that you can venture into the unknown and survive. You are building a new muscle, the muscle of resilience. You are expanding your capacity to handle uncertainty. The cage, which once seemed to encompass the entire world, begins to feel smaller. You start to notice the space between the bars. You begin to sense the vast, open landscape that lies just beyond. This is the promise of the wild. Outside the cage is not a terrifying void, but the vibrant, unpredictable, authentic territory of your own life. It is the place where synchronicity happens, where unexpected opportunities arise, where you meet parts of yourself you never knew existed. The domesticated self fears the wild because it cannot be controlled. The soul yearns for it because it is the only place it can be truly free. To dismantle the cage is to choose the soul over the ego. It is to choose aliveness over safety. It is a declaration that you are no longer willing to trade the infinite sky for a predictable perch. One day, after 1,000 small, consistent acts of filing away at the bars, the lock will click open. The door will swing wide. You will stand at the threshold, and the part of you that has known only the cage will tremble. It is the moment of truth. You can remain on the familiar floor of the cage, or you can step out onto the untested ground of your own freedom. The alchemist chooses freedom, always. You take the step, and as you emerge from the conditioned twilight of your comfort zone, you stand blinking in the bright, unfiltered sunlight of reality, and for the first time, you feel the wind on your skin. It is a real wind, not the stale, recirculated air of your cage. It carries 1,000 scents, 1,000 possibilities, and it carries 1,000 voices. This is the wind of judgment, and learning to stand firm within it, without being blown off course, is the next great stage of your work. You have stepped out of the cage. The door of comfort, with its padded bars and predictable routines, is behind you. You are standing now in the wild, open territory of your own potential. The light is brighter here, the colors more vivid, but the first thing that truly strikes you is the wind. It is a relentless, invisible force, coming from all directions at once. It whistles past your ears, pulls at your clothes, and tries to push you back toward the safety of the cage you just left. This, Alchemist, is the wind of judgment, and learning to stand in it is the final test of your purification. This wind is composed of the collective thoughts, opinions, and expectations of the human world. It is the voice of your parents hoping you would choose a safer path. It is the unspoken disapproval of your friends who do not understand your new direction. It is the chorus of society telling you what you should look like, what you should own, and what it means to be successful. It is the invisible pressure to conform, to fit in, to be normal. It has been blowing on you your entire life, but inside the cage, its force was dampened. You were sheltered. Now, standing in the open, you feel its full, unapologetic power. And your instinct, your deep, primal instinct, is to either run from it or to fight it. Observe the two common responses to this wind. The first is to become a kite. The person who becomes a kite is entirely dependent on external validation. Their sense of self-worth is a fragile paper frame, tossed high into the air on a gust of praise. only to be sent into a terrifying death spiral by a crosswind of criticism. They are tethered to the opinions of others, their string held by 1,000 different hands. They feel an exhilarating high when the wind is favorable, but they live in constant fear of the inevitable crash. They spend their entire lives anxiously scanning the sky, trying to predict the weather, trying to please the wind. But the wind is fickle. The wind cannot be pleased. To live as a kite is to surrender your sovereignty completely. The second response is to fight the wind. This is the path of the rebel who defines themselves by their opposition to everything. They build walls of anger and cynicism to deflect the wind, but this takes a tremendous amount of energy. They are still reacting to the wind, still allowing it to dictate the terms of their existence, just in a negative sense. They are defined by what they are against, not what they are for. This is not freedom. It is another, more bitter kind of bondage. The alchemist chooses a third path. The alchemist understands that you cannot stop the wind from blowing. It is a natural force of the world. To wish for a world without judgment is to wish for an ocean without waves. It is a futile waste of energy. The alchemist's work is not to change the wind, but to change themselves. The goal is to cease being a kite and to become a mountain. A mountain does not care about the weather. Storms rage upon its peaks. Winds howl through its passes. Clouds obscure its summit. But the core of the mountain remains utterly still, silent, and unmoved. Its sense of its own being, its own massive grounded presence, is not derived from the weather on its surface. Its worth is inherent. This is your task, to cultivate an inner center of gravity so deep and so stable that the winds of praise and blame blow past you like harmless gusts. The approval of others feels pleasant, like a moment of warm sunshine. The disapproval of others feels unpleasant, like a moment of cold rain. But neither the sun nor the rain can alter the nature of the mountain. How is this mountain-like stability achieved? It begins by understanding the source of the wind's power. The judgment of another person is, in reality, just vibrations in the air or pixels on a screen. It is noise. It has no inherent power over you. It only gains power when you grant it entry into your own mind. It is a key offered to you by another. You are the one who chooses to take that key, place it in the lock of your own self-worth, and turn it. The power was always yours. When you believe their praise, you give them the power to validate you. When you believe their criticism, you give them the power to invalidate you. In both cases, the locus of power is external. The alchemist reclaims this power. The practice begins with a radical act of self-reliance. You must begin to make decisions based solely on your own inner authority, your own intuition, your own joy. Start small. Make a choice about your day, what to eat, what to watch, what to wear, and do not ask for or listen to another person's opinion. Feel the small tremor of fear that arises. But what if they don't like it? What if it's the wrong choice? Sit with that fear. It is the feeling of the kite string being snipped. It is uncomfortable because you are used to the tension. Learn to trust your own resonance. Does a choice make you feel expansive, energized, and alive? That is your truth. Does a choice make you feel contracted, drained, and heavy? That is not your truth. This is your new compass. Your inner feeling is the needle. The opinions of the world are just distracting magnetic noise. As you practice this, you will discover something miraculous. You will begin to build your own internal validation system. You will no longer need to outsource your sense of worth. When criticism comes, you will be able to hold it at a distance. You can examine it with curiosity. You might ask, is there any truth in this for me? Is this a mirror showing me something I need to see? If so, you can take the learning without the poison of shame. If not, you can simply let it go. It is just weather. It is not about you. It is a reflection of the other person's own inner state, their own judgments, their own pain. You will find that you can offer them compassion instead of being wounded by them. This is the alchemy that turns the wind into power. The alchemist builds a windmill. A windmill does not fight the wind. It does not shrink from the wind. It presents its blades and says, "Blow." It harnesses the very force that would seek to knock it down and uses it to grind grain, to pump water, to create energy. In the same way, you can learn to harness the winds of judgment. When people doubt you, let it fuel your determination. When people criticize your path, let it clarify your own resolve. When society tells you you are wrong, let it be a confirmation that you are thinking for yourself. The opposition becomes your fuel. The resistance strengthens you. You have now completed the first great stage of the alchemical work, the stage of calcinatio, or purification by fire. You have sat in the furnace of stillness. You have looked into the mirror of disturbance. You have entered the vault of the past. You have dismantled the cage of comfort. And now, you have learned to stand firm in the winds of judgment. You have taken back your power from the external world. You are no longer a victim of your past or a hostage to the opinions of others. You are grounded in your own being. And from this new place of stability, you become aware of a different kind of force. It is not the chaotic, external wind of human opinion. It is a deep, slow, powerful current that flows from within. It is the current of life itself, the intelligence of the universe. Having learned to stand firm against the winds from without, you are now strong enough to dare to let go from within. You are ready to stop resisting, to stop fighting, and to surrender to this deeper wisdom. You are ready for the next stage of the great work, solutio, the dissolution into water. You are ready to learn the secret of the river. You have become the mountain. You have learned to stand in the howling gales of judgment and remain unmoved, your foundations sunk deep into the bedrock of your own being. In this newfound stillness, you begin to perceive a different kind of movement. It is not the chaotic wind from without, but a deep, silent, inexorable pull from within. It is the feeling of a vast and powerful current flowing through the very heart of the mountain. This is the river, and it does not ask for your strength, it asks for your surrender. This is the next great stage of the work, the dissolution of the rigid self into the flowing waters of life. This is solutio. And for the ego, the mountain builder, the master of control, this is the most terrifying proposition of all. For your entire life, you have been at war with this river. Look back and see the truth of this. You have been a frantic swimmer, convinced that your happiness lay on a specific spot on the opposite bank, and you have spent all your energy fighting the current to get there. Your muscles have burned, your lungs have gasped for air, and your spirit has grown weary from the constant, futile struggle against a force infinitely more powerful than yourself. Every moment of anxiety, every ounce of stress, every pang of frustration was born from this single misguided battle. The river flows south, and you have been exhausting yourself trying to swim north. The ego believes in control. It is its religion. It creates 5-year plans, detailed to-do lists, and rigid expectations. It builds dams of logic and canals of discipline, attempting to divert the great river of life into a channel of its own choosing. The ego believes that with enough effort, enough willpower, enough struggle, it can force reality to submit to its blueprint. This belief is the primary source of human suffering. When the river inevitably overflows the ego's pathetic dams, when the unexpected job loss occurs, the relationship ends, the illness arrives. The ego does not see the wisdom of the river. It sees only its own failure. It screams in frustration, "This was not supposed to happen. This was not part of the plan." It then redoubles its efforts, building higher dams, fighting with more desperation, and sinking deeper into the exhaustion of its own resistance. The alchemist comes to understand the profound futility of this war. They see that control is an illusion, a ghost that you chase while the real current of life carries you along anyway. The work is not to impose your will upon the river. The work is to learn the nature of the river and to align with its flow. To do this requires the one thing the ego fears above all else: surrender. Let us redefine this word. for it has been corrupted by fear. Surrender is not defeat. It is not passive resignation. It is not giving up. Surrender is an act of radical intelligence. It is the wisdom of the sailor who, instead of rowing against the wind, adjusts his sails to harness its power. It is the wisdom of the martial artist who does not block a blow with brute force, but yields, redirecting the opponent's energy and using it to their own advantage. Surrender is the courageous choice to stop wasting your life force on a battle you can never win, and to instead place that life force in the service of the powerful, intelligent current that is already flowing. So how do we practice this? How do we let go when we have been taught our entire lives to hold on tighter? We begin with the body. Your body is the physical archive of your resistance. Right now, in this moment, scan your own form. Where are you fighting the river? Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders raised toward your ears? Is your stomach tight? Is your breath shallow and constricted? These are not random tensions. They are the physical embodiment of your mind's resistance to what is. Each tightened muscle is a tiny no to the present moment. The practice is to consciously say yes. Take a breath, and as you exhale, intentionally soften your jaw. Let your tongue rest gently on the floor of your mouth. As you exhale again, allow your shoulders to drop, to melt away from your ears. Breathe into the tightness in your belly and invite it to soften. With each conscious release, you are physically enacting surrender. You are letting go of your argument with reality. You are telling your nervous system, it is safe to let go. It is safe to be here now. You are ceasing to be a clenched fist and are becoming an open hand. Now, bring this practice from the body to the mind. Choose one area of your life where you are engaged in a frantic upstream swim. Perhaps it is a relationship you are trying to force into a shape it does not want to take. Perhaps it is a career goal you are pursuing with white-knuckle desperation. Perhaps it is a desperate attempt to control the health or happiness of someone you love. See this situation clearly in your mind. Feel the energy of your struggle, the tension of your constant effort. Now, in a sacred act of imagination, place that entire situation in your open palm, and with your next exhale, turn your palm over and let it go. Let it fall into the great river. This does not mean you become inert. It does not mean you stop taking action. The sailor who surrenders to the wind does not drop his sails and go to sleep. He becomes more attentive, more exquisitely aware, adjusting his rudder with the lightest touch to remain in harmony with the forces of wind and water. You will still make the phone call. You will still do your work. You will still offer your love, but you will do it from a different place. You are releasing your fierce, desperate attachment to a specific outcome. You are doing your part, planting the seed, and then you are trusting the river to handle the rest. You are surrendering the illusion that you, with your limited perspective, know better than the vast, interconnected intelligence of life itself. This is the great alchemical paradox. The moment you truly let go of control, you are filled with a power you have never known. When you stop fighting the river, its immense energy becomes your energy. You begin to move with a speed and grace that was impossible when you were fighting the current. The perfect opportunities you were striving for now seem to find you effortlessly. The right people simply appear. Solutions to problems that seemed intractable now emerge with startling clarity. This is not magic. You have simply stopped blocking the flow. You have shifted from operating on the finite battery of your personal willpower to plugging into the infinite power grid of the universe. Your only work is to stay in the boat and keep your hands off the oars. Your work is to trust that the river, which knows the pull of the sea, knows the way better than you do. You may not be able to see around the next bend, and this will frighten the part of you that craves certainty, but the river has flowed this way for eternity. It knows the hidden rocks and the deep channels. It knows the way home. Your surrender is your faith in its wisdom. So feel yourself now floating. The frantic splashing has ceased. The strained muscles are relaxed. You are lying on your back, held and supported by the water, gazing up at the endless sky. You are being carried. This is the peace that passes all understanding. It is the peace that comes not from finally getting what you want, but from ceasing to want what you cannot have. It is the peace of alignment, of harmony, of letting be. And as you float, you notice the water is gently washing over you, cleansing you. It is dissolving the grime of your long struggle, softening the hard edges of your certainty. It is beginning to wash away the very paint of the identity you thought you were, preparing you for an even deeper dissolution. You are floating. The desperate struggle has ceased, and you have surrendered your vessel to the wise, relentless current of the river. As you lie back, held by the water, you notice a subtle change. The river is not just carrying you, it is cleansing you. With a tenderness that belies its immense power, the water is beginning to work on the very surface of your being, loosening something you have worn for so long you have mistaken it for your own skin. The river has begun to wash away the paint. What is this paint? It is the thick, layered coating of identity that you have spent a lifetime applying, curating, and defending. Each layer is a story you tell yourself and the world about who you are. Look closely as the first layers begin to cloud the water around you. There goes the paint of your profession, the glossy, important lacquer of, I am a doctor, I am an executive, I am an artist, I am a teacher. You spent years acquiring that coat, polishing it with degrees and achievements, and it gave you a sense of purpose and place. See it now, dissolving into a mere color in the water, and feel the first tremor of fear. If you are not your job, then who are you? The current swirls, and another layer lifts. It is the paint of your roles. The thick, durable enamel of, I am a parent, I am a spouse, I am a son or daughter. These roles are deeply honorable, and they have shaped you in profound ways. They have been a source of love and of great responsibility. Yet they are not the essence of you. They are a function you perform, a sacred mask you wear. As this layer dissolves, the fear deepens. The roles have been your anchor, your primary definition. Without them, the self feels unmoored, dangerously adrift. The water works deeper still, washing away the complex, multi-textured layers of your personal history. There goes the triumphant, metallic paint of your successes, the diplomas, the promotions, the house you bought, and right alongside it, the dark, matte primer of your failures, the bankruptcy, the divorce, the dreams you abandoned. You have identified with both so strongly, defining yourself by your victories and shackling yourself to your defeats. Now, the river makes no distinction. Success and failure are just different colors of paint, and both are washed away in the same impartial flow, leaving you naked of your own life story. What is left? Perhaps the paint of your personality. I am an introvert. I am funny. I am a spiritual person. I am an anxious person. These are the labels we cling to most tightly, the final brushstrokes of our self-portrait. We use them to navigate the world, to explain ourselves, to find our tribe. But these too are just paint. They are conditioned patterns of thought and behavior, not the fundamental truth of your being. As the water washes them away, a terrifying silence begins to dawn. If you are not your name, not your job, not your roles, not your history, not your personality, then the question becomes deafening: who am I? This is the precipice of the ego's greatest fear. The ego is the painter, the master curator of the outer self. Its entire existence is invested in the integrity of these layers of paint. To the ego, to be without a label is to be nothing. To be formless is to be dead. And so it panics. It will try to scramble out of the river, to find the shore, and quickly repaint itself with a new, perhaps more spiritual identity. But the alchemist knows that this is the most crucial moment of the dissolution. You must resist the urge to grasp for a new label. You must be willing to float in the terrifying, liberating emptiness of the unknown. You must be willing to become naked, for here is the great secret that the ego can never understand. You are not the paint. You have never been the paint. You are the wall beneath. Imagine a wall that has stood for 1,000 years. It has been painted countless times. It has been a brilliant white, a somber gray, a passionate red. It has been covered in murals, then whitewashed over. It has been smooth and pristine, and it has been cracked, peeling, and stained. The paint changes with the seasons and the centuries, but the wall remains. The wall is the substance. The paint is the temporary appearance. You are the wall. You are the silent, ever-present consciousness that has witnessed every layer of paint being applied and every layer fading away. You were there, watching when you were a child. You were there watching when you were a teenager. You were there watching through every job, every relationship, every triumph, every heartbreak. The roles changed, the personality shifted, the body aged, but the witness, the silent watcher, the fundamental I behind the eyes, that has never changed. That is the wall. That is your true nature. To shift your identification from the paint to the wall is to find the only true security that exists. As long as you believe you are the paint, you will live in constant fear, because paint, by its very nature, fades, cracks, and peels. Your job can be lost, your roles can change, your health can decline, your reputation can be tarnished. If you identify with these fleeting things, your peace will be as fragile as a coat of old paint in a storm. But when you know yourself as the wall, you become fearless. Let the storms come, let the paint peel. My substance remains, my essence is untouched. This is not a mere intellectual concept. It is an experience that you can access. Let this be your practice, your meditation, as you float in the cleansing river. Ask yourself the most powerful question in the universe: who am I? Your mind will immediately rush to provide an answer, to hand you a brush and a can of paint. It will say, I am a name, I am a body, I am a thinker, I am an emotion. With each answer that arises, gently but firmly recognize. Number, I am aware of the name, so I cannot be the name. I am aware of the body, so I cannot be the body. I am aware of the thought, so I cannot be the thinker. Who is this awareness? Peel back each layer with this gentle inquiry. Discard every label the mind offers. Let go of, I am a man, or I am a woman. Let go of, I am old, or I am young. Let go of, I am happy, or I am sad. Let everything that you can observe, everything that is temporary, fall away. Do not search for a new, better label to replace the old ones. The goal is not to find a verbal answer. The goal is to sink into the silent, spacious, living presence that remains when all the labels are gone. That presence, that open, aware emptiness, is the wall. It is you. Rest there. Abide there. As the last flecks of murky paint dissolve and drift away downstream, the water around you becomes clear again. The terrifying emptiness you feared reveals itself to be a radiant fullness. You are not nothing. You are the space for everything. And in this new clarity, you begin to notice something else. In the riverbed, and suspended in the clear water around you, are tiny, shimmering particles. They are not paint. They are too bright, too essential. They seem to emanate their own light. They are like dust, but made of pure, solidified sunlight. The cleansing is complete. The false has been washed away. Now, the work of gathering the true can begin. You have discovered the first traces of gold. You are floating in the clear water of the river of surrender. The murky paints of your old constructed identity have been washed away, and in the pristine clarity that remains, you have begun to see them. Tiny, shimmering particles, like flecks of sunlight suspended in the current. Do not mistake them for debris. This is not leftover sediment from the life you have shed. This is the first glimpse of something pure, something essential. This, Alchemist, is the gold dust of truth. For your entire life, you have been searching for truth as if it were a solid nugget, a giant gemstone, a set of stone tablets to be handed down from a mountaintop. You expected it to arrive with thunder and lightning, as a grand epiphany that would explain everything in a single dramatic flash. We are trained to seek the loud, the logical, the provable. We build our lives on the bedrock of facts and the steel girders of reason. But the universe rarely speaks in shouts. The soul does not communicate through spreadsheets. The most profound truth, the truth that will guide you home, whispers. It arrives not as a nugget, but as the finest, most subtle dust. Your intuition is the faculty designed to perceive this dust. It is your soul's sensory organ. Yet, we have let it atrophy. We have been taught to trust the booming voice of the rational mind, with its endless analysis, its pro and con lists, its fear-based projections, its constant obsession with past data and future anxieties. The rational mind is a useful tool for navigating the material world, but it is deaf to the whispers of the soul. Its frantic shouting drowns out the very guidance it pretends to seek. Imagine your awareness is a sieve you are holding in the river of life. For years, the mesh of your sieve has been wide, designed only to catch the big, heavy rocks of intellectual knowledge and hard facts. You have been told that these rocks are the only things of value. But as you have been sifting, countless particles of this precious gold dust have slipped right through the mesh, unnoticed, unvalued, lost back into the current. The work of the alchemist is to patiently, mindfully refine the mesh of the sieve. It is to become so still, so sensitive, that you can begin to catch these shimmering, almost weightless particles of truth. What does this gold dust feel like? How do you recognize it? It does not feel like a thought. A thought is loud, structured, and often comes with a committee of other thoughts to argue with it. The gold dust of intuition is a feeling, a resonance, a quiet knowing that arises from a place deeper than thought. It is the sudden, inexplicable urge to take a different route home, only to avoid an accident you never knew was there. It is the quiet, calm no that you feel in your gut when an opportunity arises that looks perfect on paper and is celebrated by everyone around you. It is the gentle yes that pulls you toward a person, a book, or a place without any logical reason, a pull that feels like coming home. This is where the inner conflict arises, the battle between the head and the heart. Your logical mind will immediately attack this quiet knowing. When your intuition whispers no, your mind will shout, "But why? This is a huge opportunity. It makes no sense to turn it down. You are being foolish and fearful." When your intuition whispers yes, your mind will retort, "But what's the plan? What's the return on investment? This is irresponsible and whimsical." The mind demands reasons, evidence, a guarantee. Intuition offers none. It simply offers a direction. Its only proof is the quiet feeling of rightness, a subtle click of alignment deep within your being. To gather this gold, you must learn to distinguish its signal from the noise of fear. Fear is also a powerful voice, but its quality is different. Fear is loud, frantic, and contracting. It makes your body tense. It tells you stories of disaster and lack. Intuition is calm, clear, and expansive. Even when it guides you away from something, it does so from a place of quiet authority, not panic. It feels clean. It feels peaceful. Learning to discern this difference is a primary skill of the alchemist. The practice for developing this skill is one of gentle, patient observation. You must create a space to honor these whispers. This is the purpose of keeping an intuition journal. Find a notebook, a sacred space for your findings. Each day, take a few moments to note the subtle nudges, the gut feelings, the quiet whispers you may have perceived. Did you have a hunch to call someone? Write it down. Did a random song lyric seem to speak directly to a problem you were facing? Write it down. Did you have a vivid dream that left a strong emotional imprint? Write it down. The purpose of this journal is not to create a scorecard, to obsessively check if your intuition was right or wrong. This would be to fall back into the ego's game of judgment. The purpose is to build a relationship with this subtle faculty. You are showing your own soul that you are finally listening. You are treating its whispers with the respect you once reserved only for the shouts of logic. As you record these instances without judgment, you begin to learn the unique language of your own intuition. You see the patterns, you feel the resonance. You build trust in this quieter, deeper form of intelligence. You are refining the mesh of your sieve, and you will be astonished at how much gold you begin to collect. The alchemist learns to value a single fleck of this intuitive gold more than a pound of logical lead. Logic can only build upon what is already known. It is a brilliant tool for rearranging the furniture in a room. But intuition is the key that unlocks the door to a room you never even knew existed. It is your direct connection to the universal intelligence, to the mind of the river itself. It is the faculty that allows for true creation, for quantum leaps, for a life that is not a predictable extension of your past, but a magical unfolding of your deepest potential. So you continue to float in the river, but now with a new purpose. You are a prospector panning for gold. Your awareness is your pan. With each moment of quiet observation, you dip your pan into the stream of consciousness and gently sift. You let the heavy gravel of anxious thought and the murky sand of old beliefs wash away, and you look with gentle expectation for the shimmer, the glint of a tiny, precious particle. And when you find one, you don't grasp it. You simply acknowledge it, you honor it, and you place it in the sacred vessel of your heart. You are not searching for loud answers anymore. You are listening for the quiet knowing. You are gathering the substance of your own truth. And as you collect this precious dust, you become more aware of the very medium in which it is suspended. This clear, powerful, life-giving water. To work with the gold, you must first understand the water. You must learn its secrets, its paradoxes, its unique and formidable power. You have been floating in the river, gathering the gold dust of your own intuitive truth. Your awareness, once a rigid sieve designed only for hard facts, has become fine enough to catch the subtle whispers of your soul. Now, the alchemist invites you to shift your focus once more. Cease, for a moment, to be the prospector. Stop looking in the water for treasure. Instead, look at the water. Contemplate the nature of the medium itself. For the river that carries you, the water that has cleansed you, holds within its flowing, formless being one of the most profound secrets of power in the universe. Our world teaches a doctrine of strength that is based on the rock. We are taught to be hard, to be solid, to be unyielding. We are told to stand our ground, to build strong walls, to have an iron will. We admire the immovable object, the person of rigid principle, the leader who never backs down. The rock is a symbol of stability, of permanence, of fortitude. The ego loves the rock. It wants to be a fortress impenetrable, defined, and secure. But the alchemist knows the hidden weakness of the rock. In its refusal to yield, it becomes brittle. A rock cannot adapt. A rock does not bend. When confronted with a superior force, a rock can only do one thing: it shatters. Now, consider the water. By all the standards of the rock, water is weak, it is soft, it is formless. It takes the shape of any vessel that contains it. It yields instantly to the slightest touch. If you strike it, you meet no resistance. And yet, water is the most powerful and unconquerable substance on earth. Its weakness is the very source of its strength. Water understands the art of persistence. A single drop of rain is insignificant, but over time, enough drops can carve the Grand Canyon out of solid rock. The rock resists for 1,000 years, but the water, in its gentle, relentless yielding, always wins. It does not win through a single heroic battle, but through a continuous, patient embrace. Water understands that there is no obstacle that cannot be overcome by softness, applied with infinite patience. Water understands the path of least resistance. When it meets a boulder in its path, it does not waste its energy trying to smash through it. It pauses, it pools, its pressure builds, and then it simply flows around it. It finds the cracks, the crevices, the openings that the rigid rock cannot see. It never loses sight of its ultimate destination, the sea butt. It is infinitely flexible about the path it takes to get there. It teaches that the most intelligent route is not always the most direct one. Water understands the power of transformation. It can be a flowing, life-giving liquid. It can become a fine mist, able to penetrate the smallest spaces. It can become steam, a force powerful enough to move giant engines. It can become solid ice, its gentle expansion capable of splitting the very boulders it could not move as a liquid. It adapts its form to suit its purpose, demonstrating that true strength is not about having one fixed quality, but the ability to embody whatever quality is needed in the moment. This is not mere poetry. This is a practical, strategic guide to living a powerful life. The inner conflict you face in every challenging situation is the choice between the way of the rock and the way of water. In an argument with a loved one, the rock inside you wants to be right. It wants to build a fortress of logic and defend its position to the death. It meets anger with a hard wall of its own anger. The result is two shattered rocks, a broken connection. The way of water, however, listens. It yields. It creates space for the other person's feelings. It absorbs the initial force of their anger without reacting, allowing it to dissipate. It seeks to understand rather than to be right. It flows around the conflict and finds the common ground, the shared desire for connection that lies beneath the rocky surface of the argument. When you face a career setback, a failed project, a rejection, the rock wants to despair. It sees only the immovable boulder in your path and feels helpless and broken. The way of water accepts the reality of the boulder without resistance. It pauses, it feels the blockage, and then it begins to explore the edges. Is there a way around? Is there a new channel opening up to the left? Does this blockage cause the river of my life to pool and deepen here, revealing something new? It trusts that even a blockage can be a form of guidance. This is the alchemical practice you must now adopt. In any moment of difficulty, when you feel yourself tensing up, resisting, preparing for battle pause, recognize this as your conditioned rock response. Then ask the sacred transformative question, what would the way of water be here? This single question shifts everything. It moves you from a mindset of force to a mindset of flow. It takes you out of the limited, combative ego and connects you to a greater, more creative intelligence. What would water do? Water would yield. Water would adapt. Water would be patient. Water would find the path of least resistance. Water would soften. This does not mean you become a doormat. The river that carves a canyon is not a doormat. It means you stop using the inefficient and exhausting strategy of brute force and begin employing the elegant and powerful strategy of intelligent surrender. To embody the power of water is to fully embrace the formless self you have been uncovering. A rock has a fixed shape, a rigid identity. Water has none. Its nature is to be fluid, to change, to flow. By washing away the paint of your identity, you have begun the process of becoming like water. You are not a noun anymore, a doctor, a parent, a failure, a success. You are a verb. You are a flowing, conscious, ever-changing process. Do not be afraid of this formlessness. It is the source of all your power and all your freedom. You have learned to gather the gold dust of truth. Now you understand that this truth exists within the medium of water. It is a fluid, adaptable, powerful truth. It is not a rigid dogma. As you become more like water, you can flow into the driest, most hardened parts of your own being, bringing life and healing. You can dissolve the last remaining crystals of resistance, the final arguments with reality. You are learning to move through the world, not as a rock, pushing against things, but as a river, flowing with all things, embracing all things, and yet remaining unstoppably true to your own course toward the ocean. And as you master this flow, you realize the river is carrying you somewhere. It is carrying you toward the final test of dissolution, a place where all the water seems to run out, a vast, dry expanse where the ego has nothing left to cling to, no moisture, no life, no reflection. You are being carried toward the desert. You have become like water. You have learned the power of yielding, the wisdom of flow. You have allowed the river of your own being to carry you, to dissolve your rigidities, to wash away the false paint of identity. You have trusted its current completely. But every river, no matter how powerful, must eventually meet its ultimate destination. And for the alchemist, the final test of surrender is not the turbulent rapids, but the place where the river seems to end. The water sinks into the sand, the flow ceases, and you find yourself standing at the edge of a vast, silent, and desolate landscape. Welcome to the desert of the ego. This is the final stage of solutio, the great dissolution. It is the landscape the mystics call the dark night of the soul. Do not be afraid. You have been brought here for a reason. This desert is not a punishment. It is a purification of the highest order. It is a place stripped of all the things the ego uses to sustain itself. There is no external validation here. The dunes do not applaud you. There is no distraction. There is only the shimmering heat and the endless sand. There are no comforting roles to play, no convenient identities to hide behind. Even the identity of spiritual seeker, which you may have begun to wear, is useless here. The desert is not impressed by your spiritual resume. Here, under the merciless, clarifying sun of pure awareness, the ego begins to starve. Its thirst is a deep, primal craving for meaning, for purpose, for recognition, for a story. And in its desperation, it will begin to create mirages. You will see, shimmering on the horizon, the oasis of your past accomplishments. A voice will whisper, "Remember who you were, the things you achieved. That was real. Go back." But you, the alchemist, no, this is a phantom. You let it dissolve back into the heat. Then you will see another mirage, the oasis of a future salvation. If only you could attain this one thing, find this one person, reach this one state, then you would be happy forever. You know this too is a trick of the light, a projection of desire. You let it fade. The most subtle and seductive mirage is the oasis of your spiritual progress. The ego, in its infinite cunning, will try to build an identity out of its own surrender. It will whisper, "Look how far you have come. You have faced the vaults, dismantled the cage, surrendered to the river. You are so advanced, so serene." This is the ego's final gambit. To identify with your own enlightenment is the most tenacious trap of all. But the desert is designed to starve this spiritual ego too. There is no one here to witness your serenity. There is nothing to achieve. The silence and the emptiness are absolute. The desert simply is, and you simply are. All stories, even the holy ones, are shown to be illusions. This is the journey across the desert, a steady walking, a patient breathing, while allowing every mirage that the thirsty ego projects to arise and dissipate without being chased. It is the ultimate practice of non-attachment. And eventually, after what may seem like an eternity, something profound happens. The ego, given nothing to feed on, no water of validation, no food of distraction, finally grows quiet. It does not die in a dramatic battle. It simply collapses from exhaustion. It lies down in the sand and, for the first time in your life, it falls completely silent. And in that moment, the world is reborn. The tyranny of the self is over. The oppressive heat of its constant striving vanishes. The sun sets. And as the profound, cool silence of the desert night descends, you look up and you see the stars. You see them as if for the very first time, billions of them, galaxies and nebulae, blazing in the infinite, silent darkness. They have been there all along, of course, but they were invisible in the bright, glaring daylight of your ego's constant activity. The ego's noise, its fears, its desires, its stories, they create a sun so bright that it washes out the entire universe. You must pass through the desert of the self to arrive at the darkness where the real light can be seen. This is the gift of the dark night. It is not an absence of light. It is the removal of the one false light that was blinding you to all the true lights. In this great silence, you no longer feel like a separate, isolated person walking through a desolate wasteland. You feel a profound connection to the vastness above and around you. You are the silence between the stars. You are the darkness that allows their light to be seen. Your personal story has ended, and the story of the cosmos has begun to speak through you. The fear of being nothing has transformed into the peace of being everything. This is the creative emptiness the sages speak of, the womb of the void from which all things are born. To touch this state, even for a moment, is to be changed forever. There is a practice, an experiment for the brave alchemist, that can give you a taste of this desert freedom. Attempt to live for one day without the words I, me, or my. This is the practical dismantling of the ego's architecture, for these three words are the foundation of its entire reality. You will find it almost impossible at first. Our language and thoughts are woven from the thread of I. When hunger arises, instead of thinking, I am hungry, observe, there is a feeling of hunger present. When you act, instead of, I am walking to the door, observe, there is a walking happening. When you speak, rephrase. Instead of, I think we should go, you might say, the suggestion to go is arising. Do not become rigid or robotic about it. The goal is not to succeed perfectly. The goal is to become profoundly, shockingly aware of how the illusion of a separate I is the central character in every single thought, feeling, and action. It is a constant process of self-referencing. This practice starves that process. It forces you to decenter that character from the narrative and simply observe the narrative itself. It is a day-long walk into the desert. You have now crossed the desert. You have survived the dissolution of the self. You have not been annihilated. You have been expanded. The river did not die in the sand. It transformed. It became the vast, open sky, the silent, receptive earth. The journey of solutio is complete. You have emptied your vessel of all its old contents. You have dissolved the rocks of your certainty, washed away the paint of your identity, and walked through the fires of your own emptiness. You emerge on the other side, not as nothing, but as a pure, clear, undivided consciousness. From this pristine clarity, a new kind of work can begin, a work of conscious creation, a work of separation and discernment, of choosing what you will now carry in your empty vessel. The great dissolution is over. Now, you must learn to forge the sword. You have walked out of the silent desert. You have returned from the vast, star-strewn emptiness where the ego starved and the soul began to breathe. You are not who you were. The old self, with its frantic desires and layered fears, dissolved in the river and turned to dust in that final, purifying landscape. You are now a clean vessel, a clear, silent space. But this emptiness, this pristine void, is not the end of the work. It is the beginning of the true work. A vessel is not meant to remain empty. It is meant to be consciously filled. Having been dissolved, you must now learn to separate. This is the stage of separatio, the art of distinction. Before, your inner world was a chaotic mixture of inherited beliefs, societal pressures, unconscious desires, and true soul callings, all stirred together in a murky soup. Now, having been emptied, you are granted the opportunity to choose, with supreme consciousness, what you will allow back inside. To perform this sacred task, you need a new tool. You do not need a vessel to receive. You have become the vessel. You need an instrument to divide the true from the false. You must now forge the sword of discernment. Forget the crude blades of the world. This is not a weapon of aggression, forged in anger to attack your enemies. This is not the dull cleaver of judgment, which hacks clumsily at the world, dividing it into coarse categories of good and bad. The sword of discernment is an instrument of light, forged in silence. Its purpose is not to wound, but to liberate. Its cuts are so fine, so precise, that they separate joined things without causing harm, like separating a single strand of hair from a tangled knot. Where does this sword come from? You have forged it yourself in the stages of your journey. Its metal was mined from the bedrock of your being and placed in the furnace of stillness, where the intense heat of your own awareness burned away the gross impurities. It was then plunged, glowing and malleable, into the river of surrender, where the cool waters of acceptance gave it flexibility and strength, teaching it to yield without breaking. It was tempered in the vast, empty silence of the desert of the ego, which gave it the profound hardness of the void. Its edge has been honed by every moment of truth you have dared to face. This sword is your own consciousness, refined into an instrument of perfect clarity. Now, you must learn to wield it. Its primary use is to cut through the two great confusions that keep a soul in bondage. The first is the confusion between the desires of the ego and the calling of the soul. The desires of the ego are born from a feeling of lack. They are the voice of the hungry ghost within you that is never satisfied. They whisper, "If only you had that job, that house, that partner, that amount of money, then you would be whole, then you would be happy." Egoic desire feels like a grasping, a tightening, a needy tension. It is focused on getting. It looks to the external world to fill an inner void. When you pursue a desire of the ego, the process is often filled with anxiety, striving, and a fear of failure, because your sense of self-worth has been attached to the outcome. The calling of the soul, however, is born from fullness. It does not whisper of lack. It hums with a resonance of purpose. It is not focused on what you can get, but on what you can give, what you can become, what you can express. It is the acorn's deep, silent knowing that it must become an oak tree. It is the artist's quiet compulsion to bring a vision into form. A soul calling feels expansive. It energizes you. Even when the work is difficult, there is a sense of rightness, of alignment, of flow. The joy is in the process itself, not in a projected future reward. Here is how you use the sword. When a goal or a desire arises within you, hold it up in the light of your awareness. Do not judge it, simply observe it, and with your newfound sensitivity, feel its energetic quality. Does the thought of it make your body contract, tighten, feel needy? Or does it make you feel open, energized, expansive, even if there is fear present? The sword is the decisive moment of recognition. You see the quality of the ego's grasping, and you cut, you sever your attachment to it. You let it fall away, not with anger, but with the dispassionate wisdom of an alchemist who knows it is not the right ingredient for the great work. You choose to nourish only the energies that expand and align with the deepest truth of your being. The second great confusion the sword must cut through is the one between the voice of fear and the whisper of intuition. You have met fear before. You know its quality. It is loud. It is a storyteller, a master of catastrophic fiction. It spins elaborate narratives of what if, projecting visions of future ruin, humiliation, and loss. Fear's voice is frantic, chaotic, and always rooted in the past or the future. It screams, "Don't do that. Remember what happened last time. Imagine the terrible things that could happen." Intuition, the gold dust you have learned to gather, has the opposite quality. It is quiet. It is simple. It does not tell complex stories. It offers a single, clear signal. A calm yes, a peaceful no, a gentle nudge in a specific direction. Its voice is rooted in the timeless present moment. It feels like a simple knowing, a resonance of truth that requires no justification or external proof. The world is full of noise, and the voice of fear is the loudest of all. It can easily drown out the whisper of intuition. The sword of discernment is the practice of cutting through the story. When the frantic narratives of fear begin to play in your mind, you hold up your sword. You acknowledge the story. I see you, fear. I hear your dramatic tale. But you do not engage with the story. You do not argue with it. You make a clean cut. You separate the fictional narrative from the underlying, pure signal. Beneath the noisy shouting of "what if you fail" and everyone laughs at you, you listen for the quiet, simple signal. Is there a calm yes or a peaceful no hiding beneath the drama? The sword severs the fiction and allows the truth to be felt. This is not a theoretical exercise. This is the most practical skill you will ever learn. It is the foundation of a life lived with integrity and power. Before every significant choice, and even the small ones, you must learn to pause and wield your sword. The question is no longer, what is the safe thing to do, or what will other people approve of? The question is, does this choice come from a place of expansion or contraction? Does it align with my soul's resonance or my ego's fear? To wield this sword is to live a life of uncompromising authenticity. It means you may have to cut away relationships that are rooted in your old, inauthentic self. It may mean walking away from a career that is secure but drains your soul. It means choosing the quiet truth over the loud, convenient lie again and again and again. Each time you make a cut, you affirm your allegiance to your own sovereignty. You declare that your inner sanctum, your clean vessel, will only be filled with that which is true. You are no longer a passive drifter on the river. You are the conscious, discerning guardian at the gate of your own being. With this sword in your hand, you are now ready to approach the fertile ground you have cleared. You are ready to become the gardener. You stand now with the sword of discernment in your hand. Behind you lies the desert of your former self. Before you lies a vast, cleared plot of earth. This is the fertile ground of your own consciousness, cleansed and tilled by the trials you have endured. It is silent, empty, and brimming with a terrifying and beautiful potential. For a time, you may have thought this emptiness was the goal, but the alchemist knows that a field is not cleared to remain barren. It is cleared for the planting. You have been the purifier, the dissolver, the warrior. You must now assume your most creative and powerful role. You must become the gardener. Your mind is a garden. This is not a gentle metaphor. It is a profound and unyielding law of the universe. And the first law of any garden is this: it will never stay empty. If you do not consciously and deliberately choose what you plant in it, the winds of the world will choose for you. And the winds are chaotic. They carry the seeds of 1,000 wild things. Look around you at the air of the world. It is thick with these seeds. The seeds of fear carried from the daily news. The seeds of comparison and inadequacy blown from the curated fields of social media. The seeds of old, limiting beliefs from your family, your culture. The seeds of cynicism, of anger, of victimhood. These are the weeds. And the defining characteristic of a weed is that it requires no effort to grow. It is the default vegetation of an untended mind. Leave your garden to its own devices, and it will not become a paradise. It will become a tangled, choked, and impenetrable thicket of these wild and unruly thoughts. For most of your life, you have lived as a stranger in your own garden, wandering through the overgrown thickets, believing that this was simply the nature of the landscape. You believed you were the victim of your thoughts, a passive observer of the weeds that grew, unaware that you were, in fact, the one with the power to cultivate the soil. But no more. Your work of clearing the land has awakened you to your true role. You are the gardener. You are the one who decides what is allowed to grow here. Your sword of discernment is your first and most essential tool. It is your hoe, your trowel, your shears. Its purpose is to defend the sanctity of your garden. As the seeds of the world blow in a thought of self-doubt, a flicker of resentment, a wave of anxiety, you do not let them land and take root. You meet them at the edge of your garden with your sword in hand. You examine the seed and you discern its nature. Is this thought worthy of this sacred ground? Does this belief nourish my soil, or does it poison it? With the clean, swift action of your blade, you cut away the thoughts that are weeds. You refuse them entry. This is the active, moment-to-moment protection of your mental space. But defense is only half of the gardener's work. The true joy, the true power, lies in cultivation. It lies in the conscious and deliberate planting of the seeds you do want to grow. These seeds are your intentions. An intention is the most potent form of thought. A passing thought is a wild seed, but an intention is a seed you have chosen from a catalog, that you have held in your hand, that you have blessed with your focus. A wish is a weak and passive thing. I wish I were more peaceful, a person says, while standing in a garden choked with the weeds of anxious thought. The gardener does not wish. The gardener plants. An intention is an active declaration. It is a command given to the subconscious mind, to the body, and to the energetic field of the universe. It is the gardener, standing in the clear morning light, declaring, "In this soil, peace will grow." This is your new practice. It is a sacred ritual to be performed in the quiet moments of the dawn, before the winds of the day begin to howl. Each morning, go to your garden, and in the fertile silence, choose one seed for the day. Simplicity is its power. Do not try to plant 100 different things. Choose one perfect seed. Perhaps the seed is peace, or clarity, or kindness, or courage, or creativity, or abundance. Hold this word, this intention, in the palm of your mind, and then do the most important thing, feel its essence. Do not just think the word peace. Take 10 seconds and feel the actual physical sensation of peace in your body, however faint it may be. Remember a time you felt peaceful, and let that feeling bloom in your chest. You are not just planting a dry seed. You are watering it with the living water of your own emotional energy. You are activating its life force. Then, with reverence, you plant it in the center of your garden and you whisper to it, "This is my focus for today. This is the harvest I am cultivating." This is the true, practical meaning of the law of attraction. It is not the childish magic of wishing for a new car. It is the immutable, agricultural law of the cosmos. You reap what you sow. The universe, like fertile soil, does not judge your seeds. It will grow weeds as readily as it will grow flowers. It simply responds to what has been planted. If you spend your days unconsciously allowing the seeds of lack, frustration, and fear to take root and grow, your life will be a harvest of lack, frustration, and fear. This is not a punishment. It is merely the law of the garden. The soil is simply growing what it has been given. But when you, the conscious gardener, begin to diligently and consistently plant seeds of gratitude, of love, of beauty, of peace, the universe, with that same impartial and magnificent power, will begin to produce a harvest that matches your planting. Your outer world, your circumstances, your experiences will begin to reorganize themselves to reflect the new vegetation that is growing in your inner world. You attract not what you want, but what you are. And you are what you cultivate in the garden of your mind. This requires presence, and it requires patience. You do not plant a seed and then dig it up every 5 minutes to see if it is growing. You plant it, you water it with your attention and feeling, and then you trust the process. You go about your day, and when you notice a weed of anxious thought sprouting, you pull it out with your sword. When you feel discouraged, you gently bring your attention back to the seed you planted in the morning, reaffirming your intention. You are the creator of your inner landscape. This is your power. This is your responsibility. The world will never stop offering you its wild seeds of chaos, but you no longer have to let them grow. Your mind is your sacred ground. You are its sole and sovereign keeper. You have the sword to defend it and the seeds to cultivate it. You have now planted your seed of intention in the cleared soil. You have declared what you wish to harvest. But every good gardener knows that the quality of the harvest depends not only on the seed, but on the vitality of the soil itself. You must ensure that the soil is rich, that it is nourished, that its very energetic signature is conducive to growth. You must learn to calibrate the atmosphere of your garden. You must learn to attune the very vibration of your own being. You are the gardener, standing on the sacred ground of your own consciousness. You have cleared the soil, and with the sword of discernment, you have chosen a single, perfect seed of intention to plant for your day. This is a powerful act, but the alchemist knows that a seed, no matter how potent, cannot grow in barren or toxic soil. The greatest intention for abundance will wither if planted in the depleted soil of a mind fixated on lack. The most beautiful seed of love cannot sprout in the acidic ground of resentment and fear. The work, then, is not only to plant the seed, but to enrich the very soil of your being. You must now learn to calibrate your vibration. This word, vibration, is not a mystical abstraction. It is a fundamental truth of existence. Everything you see, everything you are, is energy. Science tells us this. Your body, the chair you are sitting in, the air you are breathing all, are composed of atoms, and these atoms are in a constant state of motion, of vibration. Your thoughts and, most powerfully, your emotions are also energetic events. They are complex cascades of biochemical and bioelectrical signals that create a tangible, measurable energy field that radiates from you. This is your personal atmosphere. This is the soil in which your intentions must grow. Every emotional state has a unique vibrational frequency. Consider the emotions we have come to see as negative: shame, guilt, apathy, fear. What do they feel like in the body? They feel heavy, dense, contracted. They are low-frequency vibrations. They are like a thick, cold, muddy soil where nothing can grow. Now consider the emotions we call positive. Love, joy, peace, gratitude. What do they feel like? They feel light, expansive, open, flowing. They are high-frequency vibrations. They are like a rich, dark, aerated loam, alive with nutrients and possibility. The universe operates on a simple and inescapable law, the law of resonance. Like attracts like. If you strike a tuning fork pitched to the key of C, any other C tuning forks in the room will begin to vibrate in sympathy, while the G and F number forks will remain silent. Your emotional state is your tuning fork. You are constantly broadcasting a frequency out into the great, resonant field of the universe. The universe, in its impersonal wisdom, does not give you what you want with your thoughts. It gives you what you match with your being. It reflects your own vibration back to you in the form of people, circumstances, and events. If you are constantly broadcasting the frequency of frustration and victimhood, you will find yourself in situations that give you more to be frustrated about. If you are broadcasting the frequency of peace and trust, you will be guided to experiences that deepen your sense of peace. This is the great alchemical secret that sits at the heart of creation. You cannot solve a problem from the same vibrational frequency that created it. You cannot build a reality of joy while inhabiting a state of despair. You cannot tune your radio dial to the frequency of static and expect to hear a beautiful symphony. You must become the frequency of the reality you wish to experience first. The feeling must precede the manifestation. You do not get the success and then feel abundant. You cultivate a feeling of abundance, and that feeling clears the path for success to arrive. You do not find the perfect relationship and then feel loved. You inhabit the frequency of love, and that vibration magnetizes a loving relationship to you. The ego believes the opposite. It says, I will be happy when. I will feel peaceful when. This is the formula for perpetual waiting. The alchemist takes this formula and reverses it. I will feel happy and then. I will feel peaceful and then. This is the formula for conscious creation. So, the task is clear. You must consciously and deliberately learn to raise your vibration. But how? How do you shift from the dense frequency of fear to the light frequency of joy when your mind is conditioned to worry? You need a tool, a master key that can instantly change the energetic channel. That key is gratitude. Gratitude is the alchemist's universal solvent. It is the fastest, most direct, and most powerful way to change your vibration. Why? Because it is physically and psychologically impossible to feel fear and gratitude in the same instant. It is impossible to feel lack and gratitude simultaneously. Gratitude instantly hijacks your focus from what is missing in your life to what is present. It yanks your attention away from the ego's litany of complaints and anchors it in the tangible reality of your blessings. It is an immediate antidote to the low frequencies of victimhood and despair. We will now engage in a practice to make this real. This is not a gentle, polite listing of things you are thankful for. This is a gratitude storm. It is an active, energetic, overwhelming ramp-up of high-frequency energy. I invite you to set a timer for just 3 minutes. And for these 3 minutes, your only task is to begin listing, as rapidly as you can, either aloud or in your mind, every single thing you are grateful for. Do not pause. Do not judge. Do not censor. The key is momentum. Start with the immediate and the obvious. I am grateful for the air I am breathing. I am grateful for the heart that is beating in my chest. I am grateful for the chair supporting me, for the roof over my head, for the clean water I can drink. Keep going. I am grateful for the taste of coffee. I am grateful for the memory of a loved one's laughter. I am grateful for the technology that is allowing these words to reach me right now. I am grateful for my legs that can walk, my eyes that can see, my ears that can hear. Do not stop. I am grateful for the sun. I am grateful for the challenges that have taught me strength. I am grateful for the color blue. I am grateful for music. I am grateful for the person who was kind to me in a store yesterday. As you do this, something will begin to happen. At first, it may feel forced, but as you build momentum, a genuine feeling will start to bubble up. You will feel a warmth spreading through your chest. You will feel a lightness in your body. You may even find yourself smiling for no apparent reason. You are, in real time, shifting your own biochemical and energetic state. You are turning the dial of your own radio. You are raising your vibration. You are enriching your soil. This is the feeling of successful calibration. Practice this every day. Use it as an emergency tool whenever you feel yourself spiraling into anxiety or anger. A 3-minute gratitude storm can completely reset your energetic field and alter the course of your entire day. When you consciously calibrate your vibration, you become a powerful creative force. The seed of intention you planted in your garden is now sitting in the most fertile, nutrient-rich soil imaginable. It is bathed in the high-frequency energy of gratitude, peace, and love. Its growth is now not only possible, it is inevitable. You are no longer a passive recipient of whatever frequency the world broadcasts at you. You are the master tuner of your own instrument. You are the composer of your own energetic symphony. And when your own instrument is so perfectly tuned, when your radio is dialed to a clear, high frequency free from static, you begin to hear things you could not hear before. The broadcast of the universe becomes startlingly clear. You start to notice the signs, the synchronicities, the quiet messages that were always being sent but were previously lost in the noise. You are now a finely tuned receiver. You are now ready to learn the language of the universe itself. You have tuned your instrument. You have calibrated the soil of your being to the high, clear frequency of gratitude and peace. The seed of your intention is nestled in this fertile ground, and you have become a conscious broadcaster, sending a clear signal of your choosing out into the quantum field. Now, the second half of the equation begins. Having sent the signal out, you must now become the receiver. You must learn to interpret the signals the universe sends back. You must learn to read the language of the universe. Your rational mind, the part of you that loves order and predictability, has been trained to believe that the world is a random place. It operates on a principle of mechanical cause and effect, and everything that falls outside of that narrow paradigm is dismissed with a single convenient word: coincidence. You think of an old friend, and they happen to call you minutes later. Coincidence. You are wrestling with a difficult decision, and a line in a song you overhear on the street seems to answer your question directly. Coincidence. You see the same sequence of numbers, 11, 11, 444 everywhere you look for a week. A trick of the mind, a pattern-seeking bias, coincidence. The alchemist learns to see through this sterile and impoverished view of reality. They understand that the universe is not a dead machine, but a living, breathing, conscious intelligence, and that there is no such thing as a coincidence. There are only two things: the meaningless chatter of randomness and the meaningful patterns of synchronicity. Synchronicity is the term the great psychologist Carl Jung used to describe a meaningful coincidence, a series of events that appear to be causally unrelated, yet are connected by a profound sense of meaning for the person who experiences them. It is the universe winking at you. It is a whisper in your ear from the unified field, confirming you are on the right path, or gently nudging you toward a new one. When you were vibrating at the low frequency of fear and worry, you were deaf to this language. Your inner world was filled with so much static that you could not perceive the subtle signals being broadcast to you. But now, having calibrated your vibration, you have become a finely tuned receiver. You have the clarity and the sensitivity to notice the patterns, to feel the resonance, to read the signs. Your life is no longer a random series of events. It is a constant, flowing dialogue between you and the cosmos. So, what is the grammar of this language? How does the universe speak? It speaks through repetition. The universe is patient. If you miss a message the first time, it will send it again and again. Pay attention to what repeats in your life. Is it a word you keep hearing? A place you keep seeing mentioned? An animal symbol that keeps appearing in books, on television, or in person? Once is an incident, twice is interesting. 3 times or more is a direct message. The universe is knocking on the door of your awareness, saying, "Please pay attention to this." It speaks through symbols. The universe rarely speaks in literal terms. It communicates through the rich, poetic language of archetypes and symbols. If you keep seeing owls, it is not a literal message about birds. The universe is inviting you to contemplate the symbolic meaning of the owl. Wisdom, seeing through darkness, hidden knowledge. It is asking you, where in your life do you need to access your deeper wisdom right now? What truth are you avoiding that you can now see in the dark? If you see bridges everywhere, it is a message about connection, about moving from one state of being to another. The language of the universe is the language of dreams, of myths, of poetry. Most importantly, it speaks through resonance. You will know a message is for you by how it feels. The gold dust of your intuition will vibrate in sympathy with it. There will be a sudden inner click, a feeling of recognition, a small chill of awe. Your logical mind might not understand why, but your soul will recognize its own language being spoken. Trust this feeling above all else. The resonance is the authentication stamp. It confirms the message is for you. To cultivate your fluency in this new language, you will now begin a new journal, the Synchronicity Journal. This is the companion to your Intuition Journal. While the Intuition Journal tracks the whispers from within, the Synchronicity Journal tracks the winks from without. Keep it simple. When one of these meaningful coincidences occurs, simply log the facts. 10:30 a.m. Was feeling anxious about my finances. Opened a book and the first line I saw was, "The supply is infinite." Felt a wave of peace. Or 4:15 p.m., driving home, felt lost about my career path. 3 separate times in 10 minutes, I saw a truck from a company with the word pioneer in its name. Do not try to force an interpretation in the moment. The ego will rush in and try to create a story. Just record the raw data of the miracle. You are simply gathering the evidence, building a case file that will prove to your skeptical mind that you are living in an intelligent, responsive, and magical world. Later, You can look back over your journal and reflect. You will begin to see stunning patterns. You will notice that synchronicities cluster around major life decisions or periods of intense inner work. You will see how the universe was guiding you, supporting you, confirming your intuitive hunches with external signs long before you were consciously aware of it. You are learning to read the map that has been laid out for you. This changes everything. You are no longer a lonely, isolated being, struggling against a cold and uncaring world. You are a co-creator, a dance partner with a vast and loving intelligence. You have a guide, you have a conversational partner. The relationship is real. You plant the seed of your intention. You calibrate your vibration to enrich the soil. And then you watch and listen as the universe responds. It sends a flight of birds to draw your attention eastward. It places a feather on your path. It arranges a chance encounter with a stranger who says the exact thing you needed to hear. It is a constant, loving feedback loop. You are learning to trust this dialogue. You are seeing, with your own eyes, that when you change your inner world, your outer world reflects that change in startling and beautiful ways. You are a broadcaster and a receiver in a system of perfect, energetic feedback. And this system, this elegant, infallible law of cause and effect, of energetic action and cosmic reaction, has an ancient name. It is the law that governs the entire feedback loop between you and the universe. It is the law of karma. You are now in constant dialogue with a living universe. You have planted your intentions in the fertile soil of your being, and you have learned to perceive the universe's response in the subtle language of synchronicity. You see now that this is not a random world, but an interactive one. You send out an energy, and a corresponding experience is reflected back to you. This perfect, infallible system of cosmic feedback, this elegant dialogue between self and cosmos, operates under a law as fundamental as gravity. This law has an ancient and often misunderstood name. It is the law of karma. I ask you now to take everything you think you know about karma, every image of a cosmic judge with a great white beard and a ledger book, and set it gently aside. The popular understanding of karma has become one of the greatest sources of fear and powerlessness on the planet. It has been twisted into a doctrine of cosmic punishment and reward, a system of merit and demerit that implies you are either a victim of your past or a supplicant begging for future favor. This is a child's understanding of a profound cosmic law. The alchemist sees deeper. The universe is not a courtroom, and karma is not its judge. The universe is a perfect, unflawed mirror. Karma is simply the law of reflection. It is not a moral law. It is a law of energetic physics. It does not punish. It does not reward. It only reflects. It is as neutral, as impersonal, and as reliable as an echo. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast canyon. If you shout into the canyon, "You are beautiful, I love you," what echo returns? The canyon does not pause to consider whether you have been good enough to deserve a loving echo. It does not check your past deeds. It simply, mechanically, and perfectly reflects back the exact energy you sent into it. You are beautiful, I love you. If you scream into that same canyon, "I hate you," you are worthless. What does the canyon send back? Not as a punishment, but as a perfect reflection. It returns the sound and energy of, "I hate you, you are worthless." Your life is this canyon. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is a sound, an energy, a vibration that you are sending out into the reflective canyon of the cosmos. The circumstances and experiences of your life are the echo. They are the universe reflecting your own energy back to you so that you can perceive what you have been creating. Viewed from this perspective, karma is transformed from a source of fear into a magnificent and compassionate diagnostic tool. It is the ultimate teacher. If your life is filled with echoes of anger, betrayal, and frustration, the universe is not punishing you. It is lovingly showing you, this is the energy you have been broadcasting. Look, now you can choose differently. To be angry at the echo is as foolish as being angry at your reflection in a mirror for frowning. The mirror is not the source of the frown. It is only showing you what your own face is doing. Karma is the universe holding up a perfect mirror to your soul. This understanding contains the single most liberating truth of the entire spiritual path. You are not a prisoner of your past karma. Yes, the life you are experiencing today is largely the echo of your past thoughts and actions. The seeds you planted yesterday, last year, a decade ago, are bearing fruit today. You must honor that. You must take responsibility for the harvest you are currently living in. But that is all it is, an echo. It is old news. The sound has already been made. The point of infinite power is not in the past. It is not in analyzing what ancient transgression led to your present suffering. That is a trap of the ego that keeps you focused on the echo. The point of power is now. In this sacred, eternal moment of now, you are standing at the edge of the canyon again. A new word is on your lips. A new thought is in your mind. A new choice is in your hands. You are, in this and every moment, the creator of the karma that will become your future. You are not the victim of karma. You are its master. You are not its subject. You are its author. This realization dissolves all fear and guilt and replaces it with a profound sense of responsibility and freedom. It is the final stage of separatio, the ultimate act of discernment. You now see with perfect clarity the connection between your inner state and your outer reality. So how do you use this knowledge? How do you consciously become the author of a beautiful echo? The practice is one of constant, gentle inquiry. It is the application of your sword of discernment to the very source of all action. Before you speak, before you act, before you send any energy out into the canyon, you pause. In that sacred pause, you ask your heart a simple question. It is the ultimate litmus test for creating the life you desire. The question is this: is the source of this action love or is it fear? That is the only distinction that truly matters. Every action you could possibly take originates from one of these two fundamental energies. Actions born from fear are contractive. They include criticism, gossip, judgment, manipulation, dishonesty, revenge, jealousy, and acts of separation. When you act from fear, you are sending a low-frequency, dissonant sound into the canyon. The echo that returns must, by law, be an experience of contraction, more isolation, more conflict, more suffering. Actions born from love are expansive. They include kindness, encouragement, compassion, patience, forgiveness, honesty, generosity, and acts of connection. When you act from love, you are sending a high-frequency, harmonious sound into the canyon. The echo that returns must, by law, be an experience of expansion, more connection, more peace, more joy. Let this simple question become the guardian at the gate of your actions. When you are about to criticize your partner, pause. Love or fear? When you are about to share a piece of gossip, pause. Love or fear? When you are about to complain about your circumstances, pause. Love or fear? This is not about becoming a perfect saint. You will falter, you will forget. But the practice itself begins to change you. The simple act of asking the question introduces a sliver of light, a moment of consciousness that interrupts the old, unconscious patterns of reactivity. You have now completed the great work of separatio. You have forged your sword. You have chosen the seeds of your intention. You have calibrated your vibration. You have learned to read the universe's loving response. And now, you understand the fundamental law that governs this entire, elegant dance. You have separated the true from the false, the expansive from the contractive. You stand now as a sovereign being, clear in your purpose, powerful in your presence, and fully aware of your role as a conscious creator. The work of taking apart and understanding is finished. Now, the final and most glorious work begins. the work of putting things together in a new, divine configuration. The inner clarity you have cultivated must now be united with your outer actions. The discerning mind, the king, must be joined with the feeling, energetic body, the queen. The time of separation is over. You are now ready to perform the most sacred act of alchemy. You are ready for the sacred marriage. You have walked the path of the artisan, the creator of your own inner world. You have forged the sword of discernment and used it to separate the true from the false. You stand guard at the gate of your mind, the conscious gardener of your own reality, tending the seeds of your intention. You understand the great law of reflection, the cosmic echo of karma. The work of analysis, of taking apart, of understanding, is now complete. But this clarity, this separation, is not the final destination. An army with a brilliant general but no soldiers cannot win a battle. A blueprint for a cathedral, no matter how divinely inspired, is just a piece of paper without the hands of the stonemasons to build it. The kingdom of your being has been brought into order, but it remains a kingdom divided. There is the king and there is the queen, and they have been living in separate castles at opposite ends of your realm. The king is your conscious, discerning mind. He is the one you have just brought to full power. He is the master strategist, the holder of the sword, the keeper of the plan. He is pure light, pure clarity, pure intention. He sits on his throne, gazing at the perfect map of the life he wishes to create. But if he remains alone, his rule becomes sterile and tyrannical. He becomes a creature of pure logic, disconnected from the lifeblood of his own kingdom. He issues decrees, but no one has the energy to carry them out. He is the plan without the power. In another castle dwells the queen. The queen is your body, your subconscious, your emotional and energetic self. She is the raw, untamed life force. She is the river you surrendered to, the deep earth, the primal power of creation. She holds no maps. She does not speak the language of logic. Her language is feeling, intuition, resonance, and raw energy. If she is left alone, her power is chaotic and untamed. She is a magnificent wellspring of energy, but without the direction of the king, her waters may flood the land indiscriminately, creating cycles of emotional drama, or they may stagnate, leading to apathy and depression. She is the power without the plan. For most of your life, these two have been estranged. The king has looked down upon the queen as illogical, messy, and unreliable. The queen has experienced the king as a cold, demanding tyrant who ignores her wisdom. And your life has been the evidence of this divided kingdom. This is the source of the knowing-doing gap that has plagued you. The king knows you should meditate, but the queen feels no energy for it. The king knows which career path is logical, but the queen's energy pulls you in a different direction entirely. This inner conflict, this civil war, has been the source of all your stuckness, your procrastination, your self-sabotage. The final act of alchemy is not to choose between them, but to unite them. It is time to arrange the sacred marriage. This is the stage of conjunctio. It is the mystical union of opposites, Sol and Luna, sun and moon, intellect and intuition, mind and body, spirit and soul. The king must leave his lonely castle of pure logic. The queen must emerge from her wild, untamed garden of pure feeling. They must meet in the heart of the kingdom and join hands. This is not a merger where one consumes the other. It is a holy alliance where each honors the power of the other, and they vow to rule together as one. What is born from this union? What is the child of this sacred marriage? It is a new kind of action in the world. It is not the forced, draining action of the king trying to drag the lifeless body of the queen toward a goal, nor is it the chaotic, reactive motion of the queen acting out without clear purpose. The child of this union is inspired action. Inspired action feels different from any other kind of effort. It feels like flow. It feels like grace. It is the perfect synthesis of clarity and energy. It is when the right action seems to happen through you, at the perfect time, with an ease that feels almost miraculous. It is the artist who loses all track of time in the studio. It is the entrepreneur who suddenly has a flash of insight and the boundless energy to execute it immediately. It is the conversation where the perfect words seem to be given to you in the moment. This is not an accident. This is the signature of the unified self. It is the feeling of the king and queen dancing together. The practice of this union is a delicate and beautiful dance. It begins with the king. You, as the conscious mind, must still set the intention. You stand in your garden and plant the seed. My intention is to bring creative focus to my work today. This is the king's role, to provide the what. But then, the old way would be for the king to pick up a whip and start forcing the action. Now I must work for 8 hours. I must be productive. This is tyranny. The new way, the way of the sacred marriage, is for the king to bow. He takes his clear intention and he humbly presents it to the queen. He plants the seed not just in his mind, but in his heart, in his gut. He turns his attention inward to the feeling body, and he makes a vow. My beloved queen, he says to his own inner being, this is the direction I wish to travel. This is the harvest I wish to create. But I honor your wisdom and your timing. I will not force your hand. I will trust you. You hold the energy. You know the perfect moment. I will wait for your signal. And then you let go. You release the desperate need to control the how and the when. And you learn to listen with your whole body for the queen's response. It may come in 5 minutes. It may come in 5 hours. Her signal is not a logical thought. It is a feeling, a quiet hum of energy, a sudden, unmistakable inner yes, a feeling of rightness that settles in your bones, a wave of motivation that seems to arise from nowhere. When that signal comes, that is the queen giving her assent. She is offering her power to the king's plan. And in that moment, your duty is to act, instantly, without hesitation. You ride that wave of energy, and you will find that the action you take is 100 times more powerful, more effective, and more joyful than any action you could have forced through willpower alone. This is the dance. The king provides the clarity of direction. The queen provides the power and the timing. You live in a state of active stillness, of patient readiness. You are clear on your destination, but you are infinitely flexible about the journey. You honor the intellect and you honor the body. You unite your clarity with your energy. This sacred marriage turns your life from a battlefield into a dance floor. It ends the inner war. You are no longer fragmented but whole. You are a sovereign ruler of a unified kingdom. Your thoughts and your feelings, your intentions and your actions are finally aligned. And this divine union, this perfect harmony within you, does not just create a harmonious life. It creates a substance. It creates a catalyst of impossible power, a legendary stone that can turn lead into gold. It creates the object of every alchemist's quest. The sacred marriage is complete. The king of your conscious mind and the queen of your energetic body have joined in a holy union. Your inner kingdom is no longer at war with itself. Clarity is united with power. Intention is fused with energy. And from this divine conjunction, something new is born. It is the fruit of your long labor, the object of every alchemist's obsessive quest. From the heat and pressure and purification and unification of your journey, a new substance has coagulated within the center of your being. The philosopher's stone is no longer a myth, it is your reality. For centuries, the uninitiated have spoken of this stone in literal terms, spinning tales of a magical rock that could turn base metals into physical gold and grant everlasting life. These stories were a veil, a protection for a truth too profound to be cast carelessly into the world. The great work of alchemy was never about metallurgy. It was about metallurgy of the soul. The true alchemists, the masters of the inner world, laughed quietly at these literal interpretations. They knew that the lead to be transmuted was not a dull gray metal from the earth. The lead is the heavy, dense, and painful substance of human experience. fear, grief, failure, shame, betrayal, and loss. And the gold was not the glittering metal coveted by kings. The gold is wisdom, compassion, resilience, unconditional love, and the radiant peace of an enlightened consciousness. They knew that the elixir of life, said to be derived from the stone, did not grant endless years to the physical body. It bestowed something far greater, the direct, embodied experience of your own eternal nature. It is the realization that you, the silent, aware consciousness, were never born and can never die. It is the transcendence of the fear of death, which is the ultimate freedom. The greatest secret, the one hidden in plain sight, is this: the philosopher's stone is not an object you find or create. It is what you become. The stone is your own consciousness, fully integrated and made whole. It is you, having passed through the furnace of stillness, having been dissolved in the river of surrender, having been clarified by the sword of discernment, and now, having been unified in the sacred marriage of opposites. The scattered, fragmented, and warring parts of your psyche have finally come together, fused by the heat of your awareness, into a new, stable, and indestructible state of being. You are the stone. So, what does it mean to be the stone? How does it function? The stone is the ultimate catalyst. A catalyst is a substance that causes a profound chemical change in other substances without being changed itself. This is your new power. You have become a catalyst for transmutation. This does not mean that your life will suddenly be free of lead. On the contrary, life will continue to present you with challenges, with difficulties, with pain. The universe will not stop sending you raw material, but now your relationship to that raw material has been fundamentally and irrevocably transformed. Before, when you encountered a painful experience, a rejection, a failure, it was simply lead. It was heavy, toxic, and burdensome. You carried it with you for years, its weight slowing you down, its toxicity poisoning your spirit. But now, when that same piece of lead touches the philosopher's stone that is your integrated self, it is instantly transmuted. Imagine you experience a professional failure. The old fragmented self would have called it a disaster, a confirmation of its unworthiness. It would have created stories of shame and regret. But when this event touches the stone, a new process occurs. The stone, your wise, unified consciousness, holds the experience in its radiant field. It does not judge it. It does not resist it. It simply enfolds it in its presence. And in that embrace, the lead begins to change. The shame of failure is transmuted into the gold of humility. The bitterness of defeat is transmuted into the gold of resilience. The closing of one door is transmuted into the gold of a new, more authentic direction that you would have never found otherwise. The experience, which would have once been a source of suffering, has become a source of profound nourishment. This is your new nature. You are an alchemical engine. You have become a master at metabolizing all of life into wisdom. You are no longer afraid of the dark, because you know that within it are the hidden ingredients for light. You do not fear pain, because you know how to turn it into compassion. You do not fear loss, because you know it can be transmuted into freedom. You can prove this power to yourself, for you have been using it unconsciously your entire life. This is the practice. Take a moment now and look back into your past. Find a memory of an event that, at the time, you labeled a catastrophe, a painful breakup, a humiliating mistake, a time of great loss. Feel for a moment the echo of how terrible it felt then. Now, from your current perspective, from this place of the stone, look again. What was the gold that was created from that lead? What strength did you discover in yourself that you never knew you had? What vital lesson did you learn that has served you ever since? Did it lead you down a path that, in retrospect, was far better for you? Did the compassion you learned from your own pain allow you to help someone else in theirs? See, you have been doing this all along, slowly and unconsciously. The difference now is that you can do it consciously, cleanly, and in real time. You no longer have to wait 10 years to find the lesson in the pain. You can find it today. This is the power of the stone. It is a new lens through which you view reality, a divine prism that takes the chaotic, sometimes painful, light of raw experience and refracts it into a perfect, beautiful spectrum of meaning, purpose, and growth. To live as the philosopher's stone is to walk through the world with a quiet, unshakable peace. It is not the arrogance of one who believes they can control the world. It is the deep, serene confidence of one who knows they can transmute anything the world gives them. It is the end of victimhood. It is the beginning of true creative mastery. The great work is complete. You have followed the path from the base lead of a fearful, fragmented consciousness to the radiant gold of a unified, awakened being. The quest is over. You have found what you were looking for, and it is yourself. But this is not an end. The stone is not a trophy to be placed on a shelf. It is a living, breathing, radiant thing. It has a light of its own, and a light is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to shine. Having become this source of transmutation, your focus now shifts from inner attainment to outer expression. You no longer need to do anything to change the world. You only need to be. You must now learn to live as the lighthouse. You have become the philosopher's stone. The alchemical quest is complete. Within you now resides the catalyst that transmutes the lead of suffering into the gold of wisdom. You are whole, integrated, a sovereign being who knows themselves not as a fleeting collection of thoughts and feelings, but as the eternal consciousness that holds them. The stone is not an inert object. It is radiant. It emanates a light, a frequency, a warmth. And so, the great question of your life shifts from, how do I become whole, to a new, more profound inquiry. How do I now live in the world as this wholeness? The first impulse of the newly awakened self is often a subtle trick of the ego, its final and most clever disguise. Having attained a measure of inner peace and clarity, the ego looks out at the suffering of the world and appoints itself as the savior. It develops a powerful urge to go out and fix everyone, to heal the broken, to give unsolicited advice, to rescue people from the consequences of their own choices. This savior complex feels noble. It feels righteous, but look closely with your alchemist's eye. It is born from a desire to be seen as wise, to be needed, to have a new and important spiritual role. It is the ego, having lost its old identities, trying to build a new one called the healer, or the guide. This impulse, however well-intentioned, disrespects the sacred journey of others. It assumes you know what is best for them, and denies them the power of their own transmutations, the very power you have just claimed for yourself. The true alchemist chooses a different way. They understand that their greatest gift to the world is not what they do, but who they have become. Their service lies not in frantic action, but in steady presence. They cease to be the well-intentioned rescuer, running from shore to shore, and they become the lighthouse. Consider the nature of a lighthouse. It stands on a rocky promontory, lashed by the wind and the waves of a great storm. The sea is in chaos. The sky is dark. Ships are tossed upon the waves, their captains struggling to find their way. The lighthouse does not panic. It does not feel sorry for the ships. It does not shout instructions through the wind. It does not leave its foundation and swim out to try and tow each ship to safety. To do so would be to abandon its post and be smashed upon the same rocks it is meant to illuminate. The lighthouse performs one function, and one function only. It stays rooted to its foundation. It tends to its inner lamp, and it shines. You are the lighthouse. Your foundation is the deep inner work you have done, your unshakable connection to the ground of your own being. The storm is the chaos, the fear, the confusion of the world. The ships are the other souls, each navigating their own unique and necessary journey. And your light is the steady, high-frequency vibration of your own integrated consciousness. Your only job is to stay true to your foundation and to keep your light shining. This is a radical redefinition of what it means to help, to serve, to love. You let go of the burden of being responsible for anyone else's journey. You understand that every soul is on its own alchemical path, and they need their own storms to transmute their own lead. To rush in and try to calm their waters is to rob them of their curriculum, to deny them their gold. Your presence as a lighthouse does not do the work for them. It empowers them to do it for themselves. How? By simply shining, you provide a fixed point of reference in their chaos. Your calm presence in the midst of their storm is a silent permission for them to find their own calm. Your unwavering light does not show them the path. It illuminates the entire seascape, the treacherous rocks, the safe channels, the crashing waves so they can see more clearly to choose their own path. Your light is not a command. It is an offering of clarity. You do not save them from the storm, but your presence can make the difference between a terrifying ordeal and a triumphant passage. This is the power of being. Your greatest service is the quiet radiation of your own attained peace. When you walk into a room, your regulated nervous system and coherent energy field have a tangible, though often unconscious, effect on everyone present. You do not need to speak of peace to bring peace. You simply are peace. And your vibration, like a tuning fork, invites the vibration of others to rise in resonance. You do not need to preach about love. You simply embody love, and those around you feel safe, seen, and accepted. You become a walking sanctuary, a mobile sacred space. What then is the practical application of living as the lighthouse? It is twofold. Tend to your foundation and know the quality of your unique light. Your first and foremost duty is to your own inner state. You must remain rooted in the practices that brought you here. But beyond that, you must identify your own specific luminosity. Not all lighthouses have the same kind of lamp. What is the unique color and quality of your light? It is the essence that flows from you effortlessly when you are in an aligned state. It is not necessarily a grand, world-changing talent. It is often much quieter. Is your light a profound ability to listen without judgment? Is it a joyful sense of humor that can dissolve tension in any situation? Is it a natural gift for creating order, beauty, and harmony in your environment? Is it a deep well of compassion? Is it the courage to speak a difficult truth with kindness? Take a moment and identify your light. This is not an egoic exercise in self-praise. It is a simple recognition of the divine gift that flows through your particular human form. Once you have identified it, your only task is to allow it to shine, simply and authentically, in the small, ordinary moments of your life. There is no need for a grand stage. If your light is kindness, let it shine on the tired cashier at the grocery store. If your light is listening, offer it fully to a friend without formulating your response while they are still talking. If your light is humor, share a laugh with a coworker. You do not shine your light to get a thank you, to be recognized, or to change anyone. You shine your light for the simple, joyful act of shining. The sun does not shine for the flowers. It simply shines, and the flowers turn toward it as a natural consequence. You are no longer a seeker of light. You have become a source of it. You are a lighthouse. You trust the storm. You trust the ships and their captains. And you trust your own light. You stand tall, you stay rooted, and you shine. But a lighthouse does not shine by magic. The lamp must be kept clean of soot. The fuel must be replenished daily. The machinery must be maintained. The work of being a lighthouse requires a new kind of discipline, not the frantic discipline of striving, but the steady, loving, and consistent discipline of maintenance. You must now shift from the grand work of the alchemist to the daily practice of the master artisan. You stand as the lighthouse, your inner lamp radiating a steady and silent light. You have become the philosopher's stone, a catalyst for transmuting the raw material of life into wisdom. The heroic, arduous journey of transformation, the quest itself, is complete, and in the quiet aftermath of this great work, a new and dangerous challenge arises. the temptation to rest on your laurels. There is a part of you that may believe the work is finished forever. It expects the peace to be permanent, the clarity to be effortless, the light to shine on its own. But a lighthouse that is not tended will eventually go dark. A legendary sword that is not oiled will rust in its scabbard. The alchemist, in their ultimate wisdom, knows that the final stage of mastery is to lay down the grand, magical robes of the seeker and to put on the simple, weathered apron of the artisan. The romantic adventure is over. The quiet, daily craft has just begun. This is the great shift from motivation to discipline. Motivation is the wild, glorious firework that launches the quest. It is a gift of grace, a powerful tailwind that carries you through the initial, exciting stages of change. But motivation is a fickle visitor. It is a fair-weather friend. It comes and goes with your moods, your energy levels, your external circumstances. To build a life of integrity upon the shifting sands of motivation is to build a house that will collapse in the first storm. Discipline is another thing entirely. Let us cleanse this word of its harsh, worldly connotations. The discipline we speak of is not the grim, joyless self-punishment of a soldier on a forced march. It is not the white-knuckled rigidity of one who fears their own impulses. The discipline of the artisan is a form of devotion. It is a loving, conscious, and consistent commitment to tending the sacred fire you have worked so hard to kindle within you. It is the structure that gives your freedom its form and power. It is the riverbank that allows the river of your life to flow with direction and force, rather than dissipating into a stagnant swamp. The artisan does not wait for inspiration to strike. The potter does not wait until she feels like a master to sit at her wheel. The writer does not wait for the muse to dictate the perfect sentence before he picks up his pen. The artisan knows a profound secret. Inspiration is not the cause of the work, it is the effect of it. It is a welcome guest that arrives only when it knows you will be in the workshop, tending to your craft, regardless of whether it shows up or not. Your job is not to chase the muse. Your job is to show up every single day. This is your new practice. It is the establishment of your own daily alchemical ritual. This is not another list of chores to add to your day. This is the sacred, non-negotiable act of maintenance for the lighthouse keeper. It is the loving polishing of the philosopher's stone. It must be simple, sustainable, and rooted in the very journey that brought you here. Consider creating an artisan's opening for your day. Before the world rushes in with its demands and its noise, you must claim the first few moments as your own. In the stillness of the dawn, you go to your inner workshop. First, you honor the furnace of stillness. You sit for just a few minutes in silent, non-judgmental awareness. You do not try to achieve anything. You simply reconnect with the silent, spacious ground of your own being. This is how you check your foundation. You confirm your rootedness before you begin to shine. Next, you honor the gardener. You consciously plant your seed of intention for the day. One word, one feeling. Peace, clarity, compassion. You hold it in your awareness and feel its resonance. This is not a wish. It is a declaration of the harvest you are choosing to cultivate. This is how you aim your light. Finally, you honor the principle of vibrational calibration. You ignite your own frequency with a brief but potent gratitude storm. You flood your system with the high-frequency energy of appreciation. This is how you fuel your lamp. Stillness, intention, gratitude. That is it. The entire ritual may take no more than 10 or 15 minutes, but its effect is to attune your entire being for the day ahead. It is the musician tuning their instrument before the concert. You are preparing your instrument not to perform, but to resonate. There will be days you do not want to do this. Your mind will tell you that you are too tired, too busy, that it is not working. The ego, in its deep resistance to anything that diminishes its control, will try to convince you that this quiet consistency is pointless. This is the moment of your true power. This is where the artisan is separated from the amateur. The amateur works when they feel like it. The artisan works because it is time to work. They honor the rhythm, not the mood. When you sit down to be still on a day your mind is racing and you feel no peace, you are doing your most important work. You are demonstrating to the universe and to yourself that your commitment is not conditional. You are proving that your peace is not dependent on feeling peaceful. You are being the lighthouse in your own inner storm. This is an act of profound integrity. This loving, daily discipline is what creates true, unshakable freedom. The freedom of the world is a chaotic, exhausting thing. The freedom to be pulled in 1,000 directions by every whim and impulse. The freedom of the alchemist is the freedom of the planet held in its perfect orbit by the invisible, loving discipline of gravity. It does not fly off into the void because its path is steady, consistent, and true. You are no longer the alchemist on a heroic quest. You are the artisan in their workshop. Your life is your masterpiece. Not a single finished painting, but a living sculpture that you refine each day with your small, consistent, and loving actions. You show up, you tend your light, you honor your craft. And in this daily devotion, you polish the surface of your being to such a luminous sheen that it begins to reflect something extraordinary. It begins to reflect its own source. You are preparing for the final, breathtaking revelation. You are preparing to realize that the artisan, the stone, and the gold have always been one and the same. And so you work, the artisan in the quiet workshop of your own being. You rise each morning and perform your simple, sacred duties. You tend the furnace of stillness. You plant the seed of your intention. You polish the philosopher's stone, that is your own consciousness, with the soft cloth of your loving attention. Day after day, you perform this gentle, devoted craft. You are not striving for a result. You are not desperate for a breakthrough. You are simply in love with the process, with the quiet dignity of the work itself. But in this daily, repetitive, loving act of polishing, something begins to shift. At first, it is almost imperceptible. As you polish the stone, you are looking at its surface, admiring its newfound radiance. But then, your focus changes. You find you are no longer looking at the stone, but into it. Its surface has become so clear, so perfectly reflective, that it has ceased to be an object. It has become a mirror. And in this final, flawless mirror, you look for yourself. You expect to see the reflection of the artisan, the wise and disciplined keeper of the light, looking back. But you see nothing. There is no one there. The distinction between the polisher and the polished, the observer and the observed, begins to dissolve. The hand holding the cloth itself, the surface of the stone, they are all shimmering with the same light, all made of the same essential substance. In a breathtaking, heart-stopping flash of recognition, the entire illusion collapses. The seeker, the search, and the thing being sought are and have always been one. This is the ultimate secret of alchemy, the revelation that lies at the very end of the path. The entire journey was never about turning lead into gold. It was about painstakingly purifying your perception until you could see the truth that was always there. There was never any lead to begin with. What you called lead, your fear, your shame, your pain, your shadow, was never a separate, inferior substance. It was not a mistake to be corrected or a flaw to be eliminated. It was gold in its densest, most contracted, most unconscious form. It was the raw, unrefined ore. The shadow was what gave the light its meaning. The struggle was what forged the strength. The heartbreak was what cracked open the heart to allow for a greater love. The lead was the grit that polished the pearl. Without it, you would have remained a smooth, featureless, and uninteresting shell. The very things you sought to transmute were the source of the transmuting power itself. The gold was not the destination, it was the entire path. It was the courage you found in the furnace of stillness. It was the humility you learned from the mirror of disturbance. It was the compassion you discovered in the forgotten vaults. It was the freedom you tasted when you stepped out of the cage. It was the resilience you built in the winds of judgment. It was the wisdom you felt in the flow of the river. It was the emptiness of the desert, the clarity of the sword, the life force in the garden, the harmony of the marriage, the light of the lighthouse, and the devotion of the artisan. It was all gold, every last step, and with this recognition, the lifelong search is over. The desperate, exhausting, and holy quest to become a better version of yourself finally ends. The search itself implies a flaw. The quest to be better is a subtle form of self-hatred. It is a constant affirmation that who you are, right now, is not enough. But when you realize that even your perceived flaws were part of the treasure, the search dissolves. There is no one to become. There is nowhere to get to. You have arrived at the place you never left. You have come home to yourself. This is not the peace of achievement. It is not the arrogant satisfaction of having won a prize. It is a peace that is much deeper, quieter, and more profound. It is the peace of total self-acceptance. It is the end of the inner war. And this leads to the final practice, the final sacred act, the one you will carry with you for the rest of your days. Go to a mirror. Look past the surface, past the features you have judged as attractive or unattractive your whole life. Look deeper into your own eyes and see the vast, ancient, silent consciousness that is looking back. See the one who has been with you through every moment of this journey. And with all the sincerity of your heart, with all the power of the truth you now know, speak these words aloud. I accept all of me now. Feel the power of this declaration. It is the ultimate act of alchemy. It is the final dissolving of all resistance. In this acceptance, you are not resigning yourself to your weaknesses. You are embracing your wholeness. You are declaring that your light and your shadow are both worthy of love. You are acknowledging that your vulnerability is as beautiful as your strength. You are finally, completely, and irrevocably laying down your arms against yourself. The great work is done. The circle is complete. The quest that began with the feeling that you were something base and worthless, in need of a profound and magical transformation, has ended with the simple, quiet, earth-shattering realization that you were the treasure all along. You are not the alchemist who has finally figured out the formula. You are not the artisan who has perfected their craft. You are not the keeper of the stone. You are the stone. You are the light. You are the gold, remembering itself. And so, we find ourselves back where we began, in the quiet, dusty workshop of the alchemist. But look, it is no longer the same room. The shadows that once clung to the corners have vanished. The air is not heavy with the metallic scent of lead, but is clear, still, and luminous. The furnace is not roaring with a desperate, striving heat. It glows with a soft, steady, self-sustaining warmth. On the workbench, there are no complex charts, no esoteric formulas. There is only a single perfect piece of gold, radiating a gentle light that fills the entire space. The journey is complete, and the final secret can now be understood. The great work was never a method for turning one thing into another. It was a journey of perception. It was a slow, patient, and profound process of purifying your own vision until you could see that the lead and the gold were always the same substance. Life will continue to bring raw material to the door of your workshop. It will bring you the lead of challenge, of loss, of change. But you will no longer greet it with fear or resistance. You will greet it with the quiet confidence of the master artisan who knows that this, too, is workable material. This, too, can be integrated into the masterpiece. The work is never over, for to be alive is to be in a constant state of creation. But the struggle is, the search is. You are no longer the frantic seeker, chasing after a secret that lies just beyond your grasp. The power you were searching for was the very power that fueled the search. The peace you were longing for was the silent presence watching you long. You were never separate from the treasure you sought. You were only dreaming that you were. So, go now from this place, not as one who has learned a secret, but as one who has become it. Do not try to hold on to this feeling. Do not grasp for this peace. Simply be the one who knows it is your natural state. When the storms of the world rage, remember the lighthouse. When your own heart feels heavy, remember the stone. And when you look in the mirror, remember the gold. You no longer seek the secret. You are the secret.